into the microphone.
So, this weekend, Harold and the Purple Crayon hits theaters. Critics are saying that it does for crayons what Jaws did for the water. A truly masterful look at how color can affect air. Zachary Levi gives a truly raw performance as the alternative version of the classic Baby with the Crayon of yesteryear. Truly an unbelievable achievement, but to much surprise, the film was not a big hit at the box office, proving that it looks like the only thing Harold can't draw is an audience.
Yeah! Yeah! I fucking hate
Welcome
movies. Holy shit.
Incredible, dude.
Really...
It's the fucking how you did it in the Norm Macdonald voice, but it's not a Norm Macdonald bit. You just started
Just
talking
trashing the
in his voice.
movie.
There's a truly how color can affect air.
That's my favorite
Anyway.
thing. Welcome to the Good, the Bad, the Broad, folks.
Fuck movies, man. Fuck movies. We don't hear
Yeah, we don't
No
talk
movies
about
today,
movies
boys.
anymore. I
Next
got a real
week, though,
grappler on the
get
show,
hype.
and now we don't talk about movies anymore.
Yeah, no more movies. Fuck them. Fuck movies.
Episode 17, right? So that's pretty
Oh
cool.
my god,
Yeah.
only one more until...
until we're legal,
Let's
apparently. I don't know what it's going for,
I was
though.
waiting for Cass's reaction to that.
Oh, okay. I had a bit ready.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say this is Drake's final episode. Sorry, Drake. See you later. We know you don't
That's
go past
crazy.
18. So, anyway, sorry. We have a lovely guest again. We got a guest. Wow, look who's that. Oh my god.
Look at it, who it is.
Joe Hulbert is here. Yeah.
Hulbert of the Late
Wow.
Night Grin, also of Wrestle Purists at a time, graciously coming to us, famed Gallows and Anderson fan, famed. This man said that Ilya Dragunov versus Gunther is a pre-show match a couple days ago, and I was greatly offended by that statement. I was like, but other than that,
What do you mean by that?
this is trial by fire. This is trial by fire.
Look, you gotta keep people guessing, right? You have to, you know. I mean, it's. I think it's alarming in some ways that my two lead attributes are Gallows and Anderson fan and Ilya Dragunov slanderer. Like, this is a little bit concerning.
Yeah, I agree.
You know,
Okay.
you're not lying. You're not lying. Everything you said was true. But yeah, thrilled to be here. Fired up. As I mentioned a few days ago on the Bird app, the booking office is open. It's my first booking, fellas. So
Nice.
good times. I'm excited to be here.
One.
I hope
Very
you're all
nice.
good with a hot dog and a handshake for this first one. I really appreciate
Well,
it.
we'll discuss that by the end of the show. You know, I'll see if I can change your mind. No, absolutely. It's the way it should be. You know, it's kind of the
Yeah.
the plan with this, honestly, guys, was to just be here, there, and everywhere. But it seems like most people don't want me to be here, there, or everywhere. So I'm literally, this is just,
Or here.
you know,
Or anywhere. For that matter.
I feel like when Sammy Callahan leaked that his Impact contract was coming up, and there was claims of interest from two companies, and yet he ended up going back to Impact. I feel like that. That's the way I feel right now. So, it's going great.
Overwhelming
really
wave
funny.
of nothing.
Who was it? Was it Crazy Steve who was like, he went to the Performance Center, was gone from TNA for like almost a year, and then just came back like
yeah.
quietly? I think that was
It's
same with
crazy
Eric
to see
Young.
that
Eric
fall.
Young had the same fucking thing. It was very weird.
Oh,
QT
man.
Marshall when his 1 month departure from AEW before
That was a classic. Yeah, that was a classic.
Listen, you can only do so many ambulance matches with Penta and
TNA must pay handsomely. I'm just saying they must pay handsomely these days.
That is true, honestly. Look at Joe Hendry. Yeah, Joe. I've been watching Late Night Grin since the big old relaunch earlier this year. I've watched Wrestle Peers for a long time as well after that. And just thank you so much for joining us. Genuinely, man. It's genuinely a pleasure to have you here. Like, just for me, I really appreciate like the perspective you bring, like with your writing on wrestling, obviously on the cage match, Joey Bing Bong. People about plugging the cage match.
I'm gonna get banned from there soon, dude. So, yeah.
Dude, I went on yesterday to rate SummerSlam, and for some reason it was like I couldn't rate it for 2 hours, even though I'd done nothing wrong. I don't know why. Like,
Yeah, there's new rules. It's a whole. And I'm bringing some news here. I think people are getting a little bit carried away, a little bit out of hand with this wrestling stuff. I don't know if you've heard about it, but very
I think
contentious,
it's
dude.
a little overblown, yeah.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
That was something I wanted to kind of talk about because you answered. I was going to ask you about why you decided to do this, the August 1st, the free agent thing, but I think you broke it down like pretty dope, and it's very cool. It's just cool of you that you want to like kind of give back to some folks, and
Yeah, man. I'm very. I'm immediately talking about myself. This is what I do, folks. I apologize, but
real worker.
I was very fortunate in that the first podcasts I did about wrestling were on the Fightful platform. Very, very fortunate.
Oh, shit.
I was writing features for them, and Jeremy Lambert, who's the lead news writer there, and produces some wonderful headlines. He's the one who always uses that Bryan Danielson thumbnail, where Bryan's sort of grinning, but not really, sort of sinister look on Jeremy. Jeremy wanted to do a podcast alongside his news work, and he just happened to pick me to be his second. So all of this has been an accident. So whenever I can come and do a guest spot, I try to, because the reality is that, who knows where I'd have got if I was trying to just build something. It's very different trying to do that than like, I'm just now on Fightful. Like, I was very lucky in that way. So it's always fun to do guest spots. Everyone's approach to these shows is different, and you can always learn something. So I'm happy to be here. It's good times.
Well, that's just like, I mean, like, God, I feel like you say you talk about yourself. I feel like a fake fan. I didn't even know you were on Fightful at one point.
Most people don't, dude. Most people don't.
Disgusting, Simon. Disgusting.
God.
I'm taking the reins now. Anyway, how much you make a year before taxes? What's that?
Let me tell you something. That's not a road I want to walk down right now.
That's great. That was, you know what I mean?
When it's time to hang up the headphones, I'll come back and we'll do an official show on pay and wrestling media, and then that'll be the end. I'll be like whack outside my house, But,
oh my God! Joe Hulbert, would you consider yourself friends with Scott Colton? No, we're not. We're not doing that.
We're not doing that. No, definitely
Go
not.
fuck yourself.
Who'd you do improv?
Don't do that to you. It'll be Ibu. It'll be Ibu instead.
No.
I guess I was gonna ask you about, because you started off on Fightful, which is something that I just learned. Well, fun. I think it's kind of fun. I was looking back at like the earliest Late Night Grin postings to Spotify this morning, just out of curiosity. And you guys started posting stuff on the Late Night Grin like right around the first dance, which was Punk's big AEW debut, which I think is really funny because our friend group with Cass White and our extended friend group really came together right around the exact same time.
The first Discord call we had in that group was that show.
Was
the
it
Rampage
really?
show.
I thought it was before that.
No, it was that exact show, and then that led to.
To be fair, 2021 and 22 kind of blend together, so it's a little like those COVID years kind of blend together.
Q3 of 2021, I think, something like that.
Yeah. So I just
what
thought
a great
it was like,
time that was, though.
Oh,
God
dude.
damn.
When everything was like, when we could all unanimously shit on the Fed and praise the dog.
That was the
It was a
first
good
time where I legit was so I was like, dude, I don't give a shit about WWE anymore. Like, this is so great. Like, I have this one company that I can like, and now it's
unbelievable. I will never forget doing shows, because that's when we started the Late Night Green. I was still with Fightful, so what I had, like, the week of the first dance, I probably did like 5 shows. And the part of the first dance that everyone forgets now is the most exciting conversation going in was, how are they going to do this? Because it was a one-time total anomaly situation. Here's a wrestling style that's been going for all these years, yet everyone still cares. We know he's going to be there, but we don't know. So, like, I remember there was ideas of he's going to come out at the end of the show and confront someone. He's going to do this, he's going to do that. And instead, you had that moment, right, at the start of the show. And, like, it's one of the greatest wrestling moments ever, regardless of what followed. It's
that moment where you know it's about to happen, but he's still not out yet.
Yeah, the crowd overtaking the commentary and then just chanting his name. It was literally like we're about to witness a bomb going off. I was like, oh, my God, any second now.
That was like a
unifying...
It led to
in my opinion, it led to one of the best runs ever.
I agree.
Return wrestling.
His first run, fantastic.
Incredible.
His first run, the first year of AEW was a special moment in time, right? But like,
kind of wish he hung it up after that.
He beat Hangman, and then he never showed up again after that. We never saw him again. But I just thought that was kind of neat because, like, it just goes to show, like, that was such a unifying moment for so many like wrestling fans at a time, right? Like, I remember watching that huddling around because in Canada we didn't have Rampage feeds at that point. So my brother and I found a legal stream to watch the first dance, and we were huddled around his phone, and it froze like after the chant started, which meant we knew he came out, and then it just hard cut, and it was him on his knees on the ramp, and my brother and I just lost our shit. It was just
that's so
beautiful moment. Awesome. Beautiful moment. But yeah, I guess what I wanted to say was like, what inspired you to start the Late Night Grin, coming out of Fightful, and eventually just making that like a prime thing for you? Like, what inspired you in that regard, and your crew and all that?
Yeah, it's interesting. So the show I did in Fightful was The Distraction, and we launched a Patreon for just our show. And I honestly can't even remember what it was called. It was like Distraction Plus, maybe. And we didn't really know what to do with it, right? Because it's like we already had like 3 slots on the Fightful channel. So it's like, what else can we possibly talk about? And remember, like, we just talked about WWE in 2021. Dude, like, I wasn't reviewing Raw or SmackDown. Like, I don't want to do it now, let alone then, right? Because it was brutal. So we were kind of lost in that regard. And then myself and Bob was already with me. Robert O'Neill, for anyone who doesn't know, you've probably seen his tweets. He's a very unfortunate fella. He and I had a double act on Patreon, and then we brought in some other friends. And it was the night of the first dance. We did it was just supposed to be a first dance review show. And we went for about 3 hours, and it was just the funniest show. Like, we just had so much fun. And it's when you do shows and everyone is just enjoying themselves and it's like a party via StreamYard, there's nothing like that, right? And so we kind of came out of that like, we could do this every Friday. And we sure did. And if you go back and listen, I don't recommend you do, but if you go back and listen to the early Late Night Grins, every week was 4 hours long. And
that's sick.
On Brit time here, so Rampage ends at 4 a.m. So at 4:05 a.m., I'm hitting live on StreamYard to a Patreon audience of like 200, and I'm getting done at 8 a.m. And you listen back to these, like, we can't. It's like the conversations are so pointless, and we're talking about the TV rights deal. That's, by the way, still we don't have any news on. Why we were talking about in 2021, no clue. We're talking about the video game that aged great.
So well. Fucking great.
So it's just, but we were having fun, and ultimately, like, there's stuff on those shows I regret in terms of we probably leaned into the tribalism a little strong. But I mean, at the time you're having fun, and the other thing is, that stuff was never serious to me. And what I've learned in the years since then is you have to be careful what you present on screen, because some of your audience takes it very seriously. Yeah. So fast forward a year when it's like, I liked this Clash at the Castle pay-per-view. Some of your audience is like, no, you didn't. You hated the WWE. It's like, no, man, like, I'm just having fun, that's my game. But yeah, so it's been a hell of a journey.
That's dope, though. I mean, like, I think, because I went back and I watched your solo stream after Brawl Out to bring it back to CM Punk, and I remember like around that, man, like, I won't lie and say it wasn't like fun to talk about amongst friends, but like I think that's why I'm just so averse to discussing anything Punk related in 2024. I'm just kind of like, I'm so over talking about it.
He especially memed the shit out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like every single
so many lines from that media scrum. He was just saying like, he shares a mother with his bank account. It just tells you the kind of guy he is.
His bank account with his mother.
I prefer that approach to. I don't know, guys. I don't know where everyone stands on this individual. I'm generally in the same spot of like, I'm kind of done talking about it.
I don't give a fucking.
As far as Punk goes, I think he is one of the best to ever do it, and I think that return run is incredible. I do think his recent run has tainted that a little bit. Right. I'm still like okay with him. I don't have any qualms about him. I do love CM Punk still, but
I don't think it's the same guy.
I
think it's a poser. I don't think it's
he's a pod person.
You know how you hear about like there's like a fake Joe Biden and everything. People will conspiracize.
There's a fake Punk out there. 100%.
There's a fake CM Punk out there.
He's played by Luke Gallows.
Maybe so. I will say the initial WWE return look when he had the hair and he was wearing like he was just like a.
I mean, the Bryan Danielson white shirt on.
Yeah, the white shirt, the watch. Took some adjusting too. Yeah. I was never, I think we're all in a similar spot based on that little conversation there. It's like, I was so not prepared for how severe that whole thing was going to be for people. Like, and
Yeah.
I say that lovingly because, like, you know, things affect you the way they affect you. But like, to me, it's like wrestlers had a fight, dude. Like, the game goes on, right?
He is the most influential wrestler I think to ever exist. Just because of how the reaction that he
the way
gets
you say
from
about
people.
fights and shit, like Kenny said this on a podcast. He said, like, why don't you just let him fight? Like, sometimes it's a really good way to resolve things. Like, we're humans at the end of the day. And Wyatt's bang on. Wyatt's bang on. He said, like, yeah, Punk just has a presence about him. Like, I don't give a fuck about Punk. I don't love him or anything. But I'm glad that he's making money in the Fed. And also, I felt like it was awesome when I saw him last year at All In. I was just all like seeing him versus Samoa Joe.
Match. You saw that shit. Yeah. That was crazy.
Literally, him versus Joe at Wembley was, well, it's a once in a lifetime thing. It's really, really cool.
Even at Mania, like seeing him just come out to do commentary, just seeing that entrance live in like a stadium is crazy.
Completely different bloke. It's fake Punk.
There was a Ricky Starks quote that everyone picked apart about. He said, like, he's the last wrestling star, and everyone's like, well, no, actually, you know, check WrestleNomics, you know, Roman. It's like, okay, but there's actually truth to what he's saying there, though, right? Like, CM Punk, whether you love him or hate him, that's a pro wrestling star, dude. Like, he's one of one. He's full of it, and he knows it. Like, and I think that's why we all feel that way. I mean, Wembley, you mentioned it. There's a lot of people who don't get that match, but if you were there, you get that match. Like, it was.
Oh, yeah.
I went back and watched it for the first time recently, like, on the actual feed, because the only time I've seen it is in person in the arena.
And like, I would say how Tom Cruise is the movie. Wow, Wyatt. Is to wrestling.
Yeah, no, he's right. He's right. Like, some people hate Tom Cruise. It's just so fascinating because, like, especially learning because we were in the last stretch of that pay-per-view, and we're watching the Sting match, and we see the news outlet. I think Jack Perry's gotten an altercation, like, during the show. I went, when did this happen? And then we see it happen before, like, literally seconds before Punk came out. And I was like, that is the best wrestler on the planet.
It's like fucking Spider-Verse, and they're all looking at their phones like, Peter Parker died. You're just all going like...
I'll never forget it. The match was just thrilling, and it was spectacular. And Joe's my all-time guy, so I had so much fun. And then after the match, Punk did the salute to all four sides, and I said to my brother, I said, you know, maybe that's it for him. Like, and it was pure. It was a dumb fall, and it was just based on how weird his run had been to that point, right? It felt like the only reason he would really wrestle Joe at Wembley, if we're being honest, was just, I want to wrestle somebody at Wembley. I mean, it wasn't really much, you know.
That was Collision for the entire summer.
Yeah. Right. So it was weird like that. And then with the story came out, and then the next week I was in Chicago for All Out.
Yeah.
And of course I'm there when the news breaks that Punk is fired, or whatever the phrasing was, you know. And they actually said he's fired. And I was in this hotel bar, and I'm sitting there, and we've got this just terrible pizza from the hotel bar, and we're just, you know, it's me and the late night grid. It's a terrible time, but we're just sitting there talking shop, and these fellas at the bar are talking about CM Punk, and they go, he's got no choice. He's gonna have to go to TNA. And I'm sitting there, I'm dying, like, because I knew enough, and I know enough to be like, look, the way wrestling works is he was always going to be going back to WWE. Like, there's a level of wrestler, right? There was no way he was going to go and wrestle Kenny King at the Impact Zone. And I was just listening to their conversation. It was amazing. And then the next day, Contrarian Alex and I, who Late Night Grinners will be familiar with, we went to the Gene Siskel movie place, and we're watching this 50s movie, and there's a group of fellas talking about, should they have fired CM Punk? It was a scene in Chicago, let me tell you.
That's crazy, though.
Yeah,
that was awesome. I think so much of us are used to, like, wrestling being niche, right? And then something like that happens, and you're like, fuck, maybe it's like him. Like, I'm talking like wrestling made stars who are still popular because of wrestling and not because they went to Hollywood. Like, it's like Punk and Bryan. Like, those are like the last two, I'd say, are like the big ones in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. It feels like, because they're hot again, WWE, there is, like, you can feel a shift of sorts, right? Like, I very seldom have real conversations, but my moments of them, it seems like Rhea is, like, breaking out as a wrestling star, which is cool, and it's a different landscape now. They are very, very popular. That doesn't necessarily mean everything they do I like, but there's a difference, right? Like, it feels different to me. I saw a friend of mine posted, like, a Jey Uso clip on their social feed, and I was like, Jey Uso? Dude, I was watching this fella have tag matches 10 years ago. You didn't give a shit, you know?
Yeah.
Dude, that's the power of heat, dude. That's the power of heat.
It's unbelievable. Wrestling is the dumbest thing in the world. You can have some of the great tag matches in the promotion's history, and you break off as a singles. You have the worst spear in wrestling history, and you say yeet, and you're the biggest star you've ever been. You know, wrestling is a weird beast.
That is not a spear. That is building a couch and falling over.
That's like a hidden blade, but if you just didn't give a shit.
But you didn't have the blade?
A non-hidden blade.
He's doing a clothesline to the ribs. Like
very much exposed blade. That's what they should call it.
Blade.
Remember that one he hit on Gunther when he didn't even fall down? He just like headbutted his side and just went to his feet.
It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, like, I completely lost my train of thought. Fuck. I was gonna also start off. It's partially a big question, partially a legit question. We always, whenever we have a guest, we ask what their favorite meme sound is. But I wanted to make that a bit more wrestling. Oh, yeah. What's a wrestling meme or clip recently that makes you laugh, Joe? Everybody's free to answer this as well.
This is a dangerous question, right? Because wrestling memes are very, very, very it's a slippery slope, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta be very careful.
Yeah. They're very quotable, but they have background to it that most people don't know about.
Would I be wrong to say it's probably one of Roderick Strong's PWG lines? I'm joking.
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about exactly what you're talking. Me and you have the exact same Twitter feed, actually. Like, every time you mentioned, I'm like,
I was like, bro.
Yeah, it was a scary caption, and I realized what the clip was, and I was like, oh, we'll be okay.
Yep, that makes sense. That is
a different era. Different era. Boom, boom.
For grabs, dude. It's like he gets away with it for some reason.
I'm trying to think of a good wrestling meme, because the problem with memes in wrestling, and you guys will all know this, and I'll be polite about it, but I mean,
yep.
You know, some fellas, they get a whole career out of being wrestling memes nowadays. I mean, it's...
Look at Jay.
Joe Hendry.
I was about to say, I could think of a couple Jays in wrestling that are over because of memes right now.
So we literally closed the show with Joe Hendry last week. And
I get it. And he seems like a really cool... Like, good for Joe Hendry, but it's just like, I now... And it's difficult for me to answer, because I now stand in opposition to all wrestling memery in fear of these repeat cases. If one comes to mind, I'll throw it your way. But yeah, I will say I'm always amazed by the things that wrestling fans find hysterically funny. And I don't mean that in a snobbish way, because I probably find a lot of stupid shit funny. But like, you know, for example, and if this is saying the pop shit, that's fine, because I'm in the minority on this. I thought it was very funny when Okada said bitch the first 12 times, you know. I was,
yes, me too.
You know, I mean, I don't know if he needs to do it every week, though, you know. I feel like,
I think it's funny. I think it's we've had this perception of Okada being like this wrestling god, which in many ways he is, but like, it's funny just seeing him just like be a goof
he
now.
doesn't
like, I think
need a gimmick. He's Okada, but like, he's in the elite now, and they're all goofballs, so I'm glad that he's got a goofball trait about him where he says bitch every week. That's funny as fuck.
I think it fits. I think it's also just
I pressed the wrong button. I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. That was hilarious.
That was
like the funniest shit ever.
The bitch when he's like being all like when Mercedes walked up and he had like a river of sweat running down his face. Like that's still funny.
She's so hot. She's so hot.
I mean, he's got to be having the time of his life, right? Like,
he's having fun.
He's getting paid handsomely, and he's basically chilling, like
Lord, yes.
living the good
crazy
life.
how easy we've eased into him and Ospreay on weekly television.
Yeah,
like honestly, they cook so bad. It's very, very cool.
It's just cool that like he'll still like you look at him in Blood and Guts, for example. He's like, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna hit a couple people with a sign, I'm gonna hit a drop kick, and that's it. And people still love. But then you also get like, I think his match with Pac at Dynasty is like awesome. Like,
that was very
an awesome
good
match.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome,
absolutely.
Match, right?
Yeah, that's got to be the best match of his run, right? It has to be.
Not even. I don't think it's even the only one I might have a bias towards is the Eddie match.
Eddie Kingston.
I was there live for that, but it wasn't like great. But it was like a good.
I miss Eddie Kingston, man.
Yeah, man. Don't we all?
He had that match in oh god, I think it was New Japan. I watched it live when it happened. He fucking injured his leg.
Oh, with Gabe Kidd.
Man.
Yeah,
Gabe Kidd. That was it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
Man, I need to stop thinking about people that aren't here and think about people that are here.
God, Kenny, that's a hard line for anything, really.
I just did a promo. Write that one down. Mind your business. Everyone that's listening, mind your business. Mine.
I mean,
we're giving people good material, dude. Like
the way I be like memeing shit in wrestling, like I literally, it's always punk related. Like it's the pipe bomb promo or it's the fucking brawl out press conference, and I'm just like,
Yeah, you take tidbits from famous promos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, now of course, Cass, the one we quote the Roman Cena promo all the time.
Yeah, we talking now, ain't we?
Yeah, we're talking now. Yeah, go be the big dog. You gotta learn to do it. See you, for
My preferred comedic wrestling posting is when I can use like something that has no ties to wrestling at all and will actively confuse most of my audience.
Yeah,
like the one I do a lot. This is a movie pod, so I don't know if this will pop you guys or not. I think this has become slightly divisive. Sideways. Any Sideways fans here?
I remember that movie. Yes, that's a great movie.
I have not seen it, but I know what it is.
My absolute favorite is to just do a tweet, and it could be simple as like Roderick Strong versus Dax Harwood, and it'll be a picture of Paul Giamatti with the wine.
Yeah.
Regularly, people say stuff to me like, "Who's the guy? The two guys. One of them's got a beard and they have the wine." And it's like, "Yeah, man, it was a cool film 20 years ago. Don't worry about it. It's fine."
I liked it a lot.
No, Sideways is great. That's Alexander Payne, actually. Great.
It is. There you go. Great film.
Yeah.
If I had a nickel for every time Paul Giamatti could be a meme from an Alexander Payne movie, I'd have 2 nickels, which is weird.
Pour piss out of a boot.
Like a genuine troglodyte.
what a film, by the way. But that entertains me more than that almost is more ridiculous to me,
Making fun of wrestling with memes that have nothing to do with it is the best kind.
I love it. Also the people that I don't want in my replies won't get it. So then you're really playing with house money, right?
you're really honing in on your target audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hell of a time.
I want the movie. I want like a sequel to Trap, but it takes place at like WrestleMania or something.
WWE Studios Trap 2.
I'm so locked in on this. I saw the trailer for Trap and I thought, I wonder if this is the one that the critics like. Because M. Night, like, that's kind of the bit with M. Night, right? It's like he's going to just get the absolute hell beat out of them. And I woke up when the embargo came on, and I saw like this. The top review I read was, it was like, the twists are obscene even for M. Night, and I pumped my fist. Oh, this is gonna be I can't wait, dude. Yeah, man.
Dude,
anyone who's that sounds ridiculous.
On M. Night for like my whole life, pretty much. Like I love that man ever since Signs. Like that was the first movie I saw.
Hell yeah, man.
I think we've mentioned in the M. Night film at least once, like every 2 episodes or some shit. Like you talk about Old, you talk about Knock at the Cabin. I think you mentioned
fucking
like
him, man.
He's nobody
so good.
Dude, Knock at the Cabin. Dude, the Old Knock at the Cabin 1-2 is like the most emblematic for Shyamalan because Old is one of the funniest not comedies I've ever seen in my life, and then Knock at the Cabin is legitimately a fantastic movie. So like I don't.
It's great.
And dude,
it was super polarizing too. And I loved it. I had a great time.
Trap is like the best of both worlds. In that sense.
Oh, well, that sounds
hilarious, dude. It's hilarious.
I will say, I've seen reviews, and like half of them are saying it's perfect, it's M. Night, like 10 out of 10, and then half of them, like none of them are strictly negative. Like the other ones are still like, oh, it's still great. The ending kind of left it. I was like,
I was gonna say, I don't really see the issue with the end. I'm not gonna spoil it, obviously, but everyone's like, oh, the ending kind of lost me, and I'm just like, what? Like I thought it was perfect. I thought it does.
If you liked it, I'll like it. Well, I know that.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna try and go see it. That's a big. I'll go see that one at the cinema and experience the animisms.
I will say this: you see it in the trailer. Kid Cudi is in the film, and he plays a character called. What the hell is his name?
The Thinker? Isn't that what?
The Thinker. Yeah. And basically, he wears this sequence jacket with this long blonde hair, and he does like the Damian Priest thing, the fucking. Like that. He's in it for 2 minutes, and he's fucking hilarious. He literally is just there to be an asshole to his assistant, and then he looks at Josh Hartnett with the fuck me eyes, like, and that's it. That's the last you see of him.
Oh, it sounds awesome.
So bizarre.
God bless
him. I recommend.
Cinema.
That's real shit. Where am I gonna? Wait, this is just fantastic. It's a bit where I stutter a lot.
Bro, you just started speaking Klingon.
I did just start speaking like I did start speaking Glep from fucking Smiling Friends.
Shit, dude. You're really good at that.
From Late Night Grin, Joe. I guess they don't really have the exact timelines. How did you end up getting involved with Wrestle Purists?
Yeah, so Monty hit me up. He was contract tampering, to be honest. So much time to call. He was talking to me when I was still on Fightful, and then he was telling me about this plan to start a website. And like, to be totally honest, you guys, when people tell me they're going to start a wrestling website, I'm like, all right, man. You know, tell me about when you get
congratulations.
Because it's
I ate an
brutal.
apple today.
Yeah, exactly. It's
happy
like,
for you.
He was telling me, but the funniest part was when I was about to leave Fightful. I was in like a pretty rough headspace, but because I was being vague with Monty, he thought I was like severely, like he thought I was destroyed. He thought I had nothing left. He's like, "You good, dude? Are you a danger to yourself?" I was like, "No, man, I'm just leaving a wrestling website. It'll be okay." And then he launched after Revolution 2022, I believe. Which was that the show where Eddie wrestled Jericho?
Yes, it was Eddie Jericho, the dog collar with Punk and MJF, and Hangman Adam Cole.
Because when the site launched, I had the first feature, which was about Eddie post Jericho. I'm pretty sure. This could be all false, actually, nothing, but I'm pretty sure. And then I was going to be kind of one of the people around on Wrestle Purists. And initially, it was like, we'll do a show a week. And then obviously it's blossomed into what it's become. It is a monster in a lot of ways. And it was transformative for me because most people actually that now watch and follow my stuff found me through Wrestle Purists, which is a blessing. Very, very thankful for that. But yeah, it kind of was saying where it's like, well, I'm stopping five. I'll do this on the side of Late Night Grin. And then as we slowed down the Late Night Grin before the relaunch earlier this year, I kind of was doing a ridiculous amount on Wrestle Purists. And it was fun. Like, and I'll still be around moving forward. It's just, I really struggle with, I think the way you do content to cover modern wrestling, I actually think is kind of directly at odds with the way to enjoy modern wrestling, to be totally honest.
Yeah.
And I think you can get on the hamster wheel and kind of lose your mind, you know? Like I was hosting the Dynamite review. It's like, do we actually need to have a show dedicated to reviewing one wrestling show every single week? I don't know if we do, to be honest, but that's the way you do it, right? Like everyone does it that way. Maybe it's not that, maybe the system isn't the issue. It's my issue to just take myself out of it. So, yeah, that's been kind of the challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. Because we like our pod is like, again, like I'd say like it's movie wrestling hybrid. And I think we try and stray, for the most part, we try and stray from like current like wrestling. Like we'll do lists like favorite Royal Rumble moments. Like that was our first
really
one.
true, actually. I'd never thought about that.
Like we really don't do a lot of like back when we did, because we had another podcast before this where we did we'll
talk about that, but like at the start of this year when we started this, we were like, okay, what if we want to talk about recent wrestling? And we started a thing called Between Us, where we would talk about the pay-per-view that just happened. So there's I think 3 episodes of it, because it just got to a point where we were like,
what's there to say?
Who gives a fuck? We don't need to do this.
Like people are gonna forget about this show in a week. In
2 days.
Unless it's like a really like WrestleMania.
Unless like WrestleMania, that's different. Which is different. But like
the moment a new event comes along, the other one didn't even happen. It literally feels like it's
Backlash,
gone.
For example. I love the main event. That's all I remember from it.
No one ever remembers
a single other match from that show.
I remember the crowd as well, and that's it. Like
when you're covering stuff at like a crazy rate, you get super reactionary, and it's like you start doing these things of like, I don't know, say Cody Rhodes. I'll just use an example. Say he has a bad match on Raw, and you do a Raw review. Next thing you know, you've done a 15-minute segment on one bad match that will be forgotten tomorrow, and it's like. There's no era in wrestling history that needs that amount of analysis, dude. Like, it's not how wrestling works. Wrestling's broad strokes, like, that's the way it is. So.
I think it's like,
I can't imagine... Go ahead. I can't imagine being those people that just review Raw and SmackDown and like every single show.
Every single week, man.
What is there to say?
It's different for watch-alongs. It's different for, like, watch-alongs and stuff.
Yeah, those are different.
You're consuming it in real time.
I guess if you treat it like a TV show and not like a wrestling event, you know what I mean? Like, if you watch Raw weekly and follow along, I kind of get it. But to be like, people like us to be there every single week and talk about it's just I'd never be able to do it.
It's the other issue is wrestling is it is actually between those, right? Like if you're just judging it as a TV show, if you was to, no one in the space does that to the level that a TV critic would, right? I mean, obviously,
I hope not.
Could you imagine employing an actual television critic? Okay, I'm gonna pay you what's Raw for the next 3 months. Please write reviews accordingly. I mean, can you imagine how quickly they would give up?
Jump off.
Wrestling's strange
beast. To be judged that way. It's not meant to be judged that way.
Hey, Wyatt.
Exactly.
Triple H is riffing on a level that is just
freaking
sublime.
I fucking hate that video.
You mentioned Jelly Roll, and I felt something in my chest in that moment. It was a special.
Can we talk about his choke slam?
Jelly
I'm sorry.
Roll,
I don't mean to sway, but he has this spot in SummerSlam, and he hits Grayson Waller and Austin Theory with a chair, and there was like brutal shots, and then he just takes his hat off, and he goozles Austin Theory, and I was looking like, there's no fucking way. He doesn't grab him with his other arm. He fucking throws this bitch, and Austin Theory jumps so high in the air. He made it look so good.
Say. I think you should be talking about Austin Theory's jumping height.
Genuinely go back and watch it. It might be one of the best chokeslams I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's like scary stuff. Give Jelly Roll the title, anyway.
That's real as fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think to talk more, because I guess we kind of bled into this. I was going to mention, because you mentioned Wrestle Purists, I was going to ask, like, just generally, like, what everybody's thoughts are on just, like, wrestling discourse right now, because I'm starting to realize, like, I think it was in January or February, I guess. I think it was the Rock Cody debacle that made me go, like, that made me realize that I probably care a bit too much, because I was like, a little, I'm not gonna lie, it was a little embarrassing, the amount of time I was spending on Twitter. Just
this brother tweeted like 10 times
slander, and I think it's good to be passionate, but I think that was the moment where I was like, I need to like stop. Like,
when you get passionate, it is both scary and hilarious.
It's because, well, like, I think for me, again, it was my stake in, like, I paid for Mania tickets to see Cody win, and I'm ripping it away from me. But I guess it's like, when it comes to, like, I guess for Joe, like, because you write about wrestling, like, I mentioned the cage match gimmick earlier. Yeah. You have the WordPress where you place those reviews as well. I know you used to do the match reviews on WrestlePurists.com as well. Like, when it comes to writing about wrestling, like, I don't know, I guess, like, what do you, like, looking for specifically? Like, what makes you want to write about a certain match? Like, what is it just as simple as I thought this match ruled, or is there like a specific parts of that for you? I guess
it's a great question, and because it changes a lot. You know, when I did a thing called the Match Guide on Wrestle Purist. It was 7 matches each week, and I would review them and explain why I thought they were, well, not even why I thought they were good. I would review them best I could, and I would, get really lost in trying to be analytical about pacing and structure and selling. And I have to be honest, it wasn't something that I felt enhanced my experience after I'd done it for a while. I took it as a challenge, and I wanted to get good at writing those, and I feel like I did get pretty good. But I also hit a wall of like, am I consuming this the correct way? Which, to be fair, there is no correct way. But you do still... I still want to actually feel it, though, So it's like there are some matches that have flaws and have, like if you were looking at the structure or pacing, you may pick holes in, but I actually felt a certain way about, and I actually was hooked by it. So I think I've really struggled with figuring out the best way to approach that. Right now, I'm much more trying to follow kind of what I actually want to watch. And what actually, what do I care about in wrestling? That's another thing I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's always scary when you're watching a lot of wrestling and you can ask yourself the question, what do I care about in wrestling? It's like a thin list. It's like, what am I actually doing here? Right? Am I just watching this like to tick a box in my head? Right. So reviewing is very much that way. The way I approach the cage match stuff, which I've made it a bit, but I actually appreciate you bringing it up, because the way I'm trying to approach it, I'm trying to normalize for my audience and get across the idea to my audience. You can actually just pick out stuff from anywhere, and you're fine for that. There will be matches that people talk about that you just may not want to watch. And amazingly, I only discovered this here recently. Apparently, you don't actually have to watch them. You can just watch something else that you want to watch.
Yeah.
It's been transformed. I mean, it's ridiculous, but it's true. It's like there was a time in my life I'd have just watched it because I had to. And it's like, no, I don't have to. My audience doesn't
get to a point where you're like watching it, you have to. It's probably like if that's like the reason you're watching it, then you're probably gonna be fucking miserable with it. It's fucking like
exactly. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Is like having fun with it, and like coming up, we're gonna be shaping the late night grin to kind of adjust to that. Like. I don't know. I think wrestling. I want to approach wrestling more the way I do approach my enjoyment of film. Like it, like, I love the medium. Yeah, I love the medium rather than it being like, oh my god, I have to see this Apollo Crews match that people are talking about.
Exactly.
Like, I don't.
I've always viewed it as. I've always viewed wrestling as kind of like why I like it. If you watch it as like a sports drama. But like in real time, basically, like in real life, that's how I equate it.
Yeah, it's not it's
like something like Miracle or Remember the Titans or something like that. Like if you view it like that and you're watching it live, especially, it's like a really cool experience that way.
Yeah, and what's dope about wrestling, in my opinion, is that like similar to film, it's like so many there's subgenres of wrestling that you like I always say like my favorite, I guess like. Not cliche or like subgenre of match is like the David versus Goliath. Like my favorite wrestling match of all time is Bate Walter from Takeover Cardiff. Like that's my favorite. Like which is like I think it's just like it's very because it's like I think I love it because it's very simple and it plays into like their archetypes well. But there's a lot of like smaller moving parts to it, and wrestling also doesn't need to have that. Like Cass has gone on about Tomohiro Ishii and Masaki Kitamiya, and that's just two guys that are just beating the shit out of each other. Right. And it's awesome because it's just well executed, right? It's like
I showed you that match and you went, that was good. And I was just like
no, that was the first half. The first half I was like, this is fine. And then the second half I was like, okay, this is real shit. Okay. I
that's my favorite part about wrestling, that people can view it and say like figure out their favorites in terms of like types of matches, and also people that wrestle and stuff like that.
Yes.
They can label shit. Like I'm probably the only person that thinks that match, Ishii and Kitamiya, is match of the year so far. That's just me though. That's just my opinion. So it's like, it's cool. It's cool to see different opinions come in together, and like, especially not in a negative light. I've been off of Twitter much more recently, and I've just been. We have a friend. His name's Zane. We talk about him sometimes on here. He's brilliant because the way he watches Zane, the way he watches wrestling, the way he watches wrestling is he doesn't use Twitter. He doesn't look at anyone else's opinions. Like he forgets that people do ratings and shit. He just watches it and he formulates his own opinion on like people backstage and everything. Like he doesn't care. So I was like, I've been trying that out.
Yeah,
and it's way healthier. Honestly, it just lets you enjoy what you want to enjoy.
For sure.
Like, I've been getting into Ilya Dragunov way more this year. So
I truly envy how like.
Well, I mean,
you're gonna drive him off. God damn it!
Yikes!
Reel him in, quick.
You could dance, you know.
You can listen, brother. If Gunther Ilya in Berlin happens,
it'd be awesome. I have the main thing is Ibu loves Ilya.
Yes.
And when Ibu loves wrestler, it's not allowed. I can't like that wrestler. You have to balance. In friendships is important. You guys know this, right? You have to sometimes push back on this. The thing I'll tell Ilya is he is great. The matches he had with Trick Williams are like genuine miracle matches, if we're being honest. I love Trick, but like, come on, you know, like, good Lord.
No, I fully agree.
Yeah, no, Ilya definitely carried him to a lot of where he's at right now. He definitely helped him quite a bit.
Ilya can be the thing that I don't like about him is the thing that his fans love about him, which is his theatrical quirks. That's my actual, like, if I was giving a real opinion, God forbid, I think he's great. I love how hard he hits guys. I love his intensity. I love his aggression. He's selling and stuff. The dramatic elements to it can irritate me. But again, the person that's wearing Ilya Dragunov's shirt, like, that's literally why he stands out to them from Roderick Strong, right? Mm-hmm. For me, super dry, boring personality like myself is like, dude, give me Roddy, who just kind of looks confused all the time, right? Like, he's never going to be flinging his arms around.
He can't turn his head.
He's got those stupid little clear glasses on, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And that goes back to the point about taste. And I think wrestling fans, I think, really struggle with the idea that people have differing tastes and preferences. It's like it blows their mind sometimes, you know, and it's that's like central to the enjoyment of any art. Like it's of course we do, man. Like it's so
I feel like you notice that now. Like this is not me. Like listen, as a Cody Rhodes fan, you know, I feel like me and the Bloodline stance had a blood war for a solid like year, you know. But like at the end of I started to realize like these guys have a style of cinematic wrestling that they prefer, and that's like fine. I might not like it as much, you know, like. You're not going to see me ever wanting to rewatch Roman J Tribal Combat. Like, you know, that's just never going to happen.
Oh my God.
But like, for some people, like I saw this a lot, like when Gunther won, we'll get into SummerSlam a bit later, but I saw a lot of people when Gunther won the world title, there was a lot of people who were like, this is like this guy's just got the same run he had with the IC title, and it's like why would you be upset about that? Why the fuck exactly why would you be upset about that? But you know, my brother is not he thinks Gunther's overrated, so you know that's just that which I don't agree with, but some people just have that taste, right? So it's like, is it really worth it like for either side to like bite at people? Like if you like Solo Sikoa, I mean.
It takes his fun, you know.
The two people out there are very,
what do you mean by that?
I think that like, even me, there's some wrestling matches that I just don't watch again. Like I'll watch it once and I'll be like, cool, I got it. Like I don't really need to watch it again.
Our buddy Chair has not seen a single match from All In.
Yeah,
we watched it at the pay-per-view. He has strictly sworn never watched the feed, and I was like, honestly, it might ruin it for you if you watch some of those matches. But
I feel like MJF Adam Cole will not hold up under scrutiny.
I wouldn't rewatch it. I had a really good time in the building because the crowd loved it. I think I rewatched it. I want to say I had to rewatch it to review it, and I was torn. If I rewatched it now, I think I'd probably break my TV. But you know, it's life, right? It is what it is.
Yep.
I think the women's four-way, man, it is genuinely like. Okay, I get it, but like, come on, dude, what are we doing here?
Dude, Emi Sakura fan.
Matt, don't even start.
Dude, I'll never forget. I was on Discord.
Look, man, I'm just saying, if Saraya pulls any shit like that again, there will be blood and bone throughout the streets.
The streets of Wembley.
Listen, Britt, we can't let Britt get suspended for that long because we just need to run Britt and Mercedes at Wembley.
God.
I'm happy with that. Just do it. Please just do it.
See, here we go again.
And I'm ready for the Brawl-In press conference afterward where Britt Baker unleashes hell on everyone in the fucking...
Yeah, aren't you so confused and conflicted about her and MJF? Aren't you just so thrilled about
We don't know what the fuck happened. That's the thing. Like that's
exactly.
Like we don't know what happened.
Yeah.
That's the thing I was saying about Zayn. Like,
I don't know.
Who cares? Like,
it is hard when you have any online presence at all to not acknowledge and talk about it, though, which is it's kind of hard.
Once it gets to the point where you have an official like answer and like we found out what's happened, I don't care anymore. I'm just watching the wrestling on screen.
Yeah,
backstage is not my forte.
It's like when you you'll see like I don't want to go into this too much, but like you'll just randomly see a wrestler doing a cool thing. And then you'll see someone quote tweeting them saying like, did we all just forget about when he did this in 2012 or something? I'm just like, who gives a shit? I don't care. I just don't care about this nonsense. I'm like,
bro, you were just talking about that clip of Roderick Strong. Different era.
Yeah, exactly. Like, dude, different time. People just did
different
that.
Era.
That's just how it is. I don't know.
It's like unless it's something
it's not
like
right, but like I mean,
yeah, we don't agree with it, but I mean, we completely understand why.
Shit was just different back then. That's just how you say it.
You ever watch Spider-Man? That's a cool outfit. Did your husband make it for you? Actually, like that.
That joke's not holding up under scrutiny these days.
That was funny back in the day. I don't know.
They call me way off guard. Respect. Good reference. Very strong.
Yeah.
You said you see Spider. I was thinking, wait, what are they saying, Spider-Man? I was like,
I think it's on the mind because we just recorded.
Do you remember when Spider-Man said an awful slur? Do you remember Spider-Man said the worst slur possible? I
couldn't believe that hateful rant he went on.
God, we do live dubs on the Patreon, and we just did the first Raimi Spider-Man where we were just dubbing over it, like how certain channels do, and good times were had. Good times were had.
For sure, absolutely.
I should get this out of the way really quick. If you didn't know, Good, the Bad, and the Bruv has a Patreon where we have exclusive content like that. We watch stuff. We also do dubs, so check us out. It's completely free for the first 7 days. If you don't want to subscribe, that's fine. Completely up to you. That's all I want to say.
And on top of that, if you would like that lovely hat or the lovely shirt that Mr. Donut Cast is wearing, you can check out www.goonsquadpw.com/podcasts. Check out the podcast merch.
Wow!
Please look at the podcast. That hat still is awesome. Every single time I say,
it's my favorite thing, honestly.
Anything fucking rules.
Anyway,
check out. You know what? I see Joe supporting his own brand. Check out the Late Night Grin stuff as well. Genuinely, please do support. Honestly,
absolutely.
We're twins today.
Cross promotion. So speaking of just chatting about wrestling and not trying to let that, we're gonna talk generally about SummerSlam, which just happened last Saturday.
Is it now DDT7 or is this whole pod just been DDT7?
I don't even think it's been I think it's just been grabbed.
We won't even. There's not even gonna be any DDT7. We're just calling this just strictly.
Fuck it. What? Put the graphic on screen, but do.
All right. You know what? Here we go. Ready?
Really
I found
small.
It. Oh, go ahead.
Like really small though.
It's right there.
It's just like right. Like,
there you go, guys. There it is. That Mario Kart music. There it is.
It would be crazy. Hit the Mario Kart music, like when you get like 12th place though. Like that. That shit. Yeah. Right.
It would be something if we just made Joe come up with like a top 7 list out of fucking nowhere. that would be something, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
My Achilles heel is the list, brother.
Joe, top 7 Otis matches, go.
Otis.
I could probably muscle for a couple there. There was a good Braun match he had. I remember that. I remember Braun had a cool match a couple years back.
All right, guys. WWE Speed highlights. We're gonna talk about Speed today.
Dude, man. Don't fuck around. Joe Hulbert knows all about WWE Speed, dude. He was hyping up.
So one episode, broke it down, did a watch along for it, and then never returned. Once it was the machine gun Carl Anderson's foray into WWE Speed.
Let it be known, I will be tuning in this week. Javon Evans is on WWE Speed, and it's going to be sick as shit because that's my dude. Who is also in our Goon Squad, bro. He's also in the group.
Yeah, we met him one time. That's crazy.
Very nice guy. Simon, go ahead.
We're talking SummerSlam. It just happened as of recording this on Monday, so it was 2 days ago at this point. I guess we can go around just to start. Because Joe, I know you reviewed it for Late Night Grin yesterday. Mm-hmm. But I'm just curious. What was your overall thoughts on the show before we get into specifics?
Pretty middling, I thought. I had fun watching it. I didn't think there was much there that stuck. It was a show that will work best for people that are really invested in the stories and angles because there were big developments. As someone who's not as I follow along, but I'm not living and dying on whether or not Finn Balor's going to turn on Damian Priest. It's like I didn't think there was a ton there, but I didn't think it was a bad show either. I mean, I had the benefit, I will say, of I watched on delay, so I was able to skip the stuff in between matches and skip the Miz and skip so on and so forth. So
skip Jelly Roll.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a different experience. It is what it is. It would be a different experience if I watched live, I think. But I thought it came out about as I expected, to be honest. I thought it was, average to decent would be my estimation.
I think it was a perfect, 7, maybe 7.5.
Yeah.
It's just a fun show.
Honestly, again, I think Joe's spit in that regard. It was just really good, really good angles, really good storyline stuff. And I think I will say though, there was a lot of matches on the show that I think that were way better than they had any right to be. I'm not gonna get into any specifics because I know we do. So we're gonna each go through something. So I mentioned we do for what we got is we bring a movie to the table and we each discuss it. But I was thinking this time just to mix it up a little bit because honestly, going through the show chronologically just kind of sounds like a little flat to me. Each of us brings a specific thing from the show that we particularly liked. I was thinking about that. Maybe just one at a time. We can go around, talk about why it was our thing. And then, I feel like regardless of if anybody brings it, we're going to have to talk about Big Rome before the show's over, I feel like. Yes. Donna Cass, would you like to start us?
Going first.
Okay.
Evil dies tonight. LA Knight has finally won a championship in the WWE. Oh my god, it was such a relief. Say what you want about the other person in this match, real life stuff. Like I said, I'd rather just watch wrestling without diving into backstage stuff and learning about people. But
exactly.
both of them are really, really good. Logan Paul figures out a new move every single time he wrestles, and he always shows off. And he's a spectacle. So I mean, I'm glad that he gets his stuff in. LA Knight is still over, and probably will still be over for the next decade,
forever.
So I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
This took way too long, though. I've been a big fan of LA Knight since he came out of his Max Dupree era, and to see him go from like someone that was kind of getting cheers and then getting a massive blow up at last year's Money in the Bank, and like everyone was saying he should win, and obviously Damian won that year, but like ever since then he's still been consistently cheered for, and like to finally put him in a position where he could win a belt, and he does. Like, yeah, that might be one of my biggest payoffs from the show, actually, because there was so much on the show that was crazy, but that specifically was like I was literally like, it was literally like the restraints on my arms were taken off. I was just like, oh, thank God! Like it really was like, it didn't even need to be a world title. Just the fact that it is gold, like it's so nice to see him holding a belt.
It's like last year when he won this meaningless Slim Jim Battle Royal and he got the biggest pop of the night. Like, people just love the guy.
I hear damn Battle Royal.
Couldn't take the belt off Austin Theory, guys. Really, you couldn't do that.
Though, like LA Knight is certainly not getting any younger, so they definitely should have done it sooner in my eyes. But again, better late than never, I guess.
You say that, but then he does stuff like him leaping up on the top rope and stuff. I'm just like, he's cooking.
That suplex was ridiculous.
Dude, that was crazy. Yeah.
You mean a modified muscle buster is what you meant?
Yeah,
that shit was crazy.
It could have gone very wrong. Like, dude,
look at like John Moxley. Well, kind of Dean Ambrose. Like, look at how look at what he was doing. If you wrestle a safe style your entire life and then just go ham in your 40s, that's how you do it. Like, honestly, you wrestle the safest style imaginable for years, and then wait until you're 40 to just go fucking ham. Like,
like the Miz.
LA Knight is crazy story. LA Knight's, I want to say he's like 20 years in as a pro. It's unbelievable.
That is wild.
And I mean, Eli Drake was basically just LA Knight. Like, he had the same deal, the catchphrase. Like, he's almost exactly the same. It's not like he's transformed.
Only difference is he had the dummy button. Dummy.
He had the dummy. Yeah, he had the dummy.
That was the best.
And I think there's a lesson in that, right? In terms of, I think wrestling for a minute there lost the plot with what gets over with people. You know, he was in developmental like probably a decade ago now. And they're like, no, this guy's not got anything. You know, let's go with.
And now he's the most hyped part of this entire show. It's like,
man, it's
unpredictable.
It's all worked out. It is. You never know. And if you was like his friend and he came to you in 2020 when the pandemic, you know, NWA had to stop running shows, and that was his main gig, NWA.
Yeah.
He was like, should I go on with this? You'd be like, honestly, dude, probably not. Like, Vince and his people think you suck.
Yeah.
AEW, you probably don't fit stylistically in their mind anyway.
Yeah, I feel like
things change, you know, and like it is unbelievable. I'm thrilled for him, and the match was really good too, really good. So
great man.
Like,
he no-sold Brass Knuckles.
God bless.
That was awesome.
That's so awesome.
That's a real worker right
so
there,
sick. He got hit and he went, no. Boom.
I don't know.
I guess, I mean, again, I don't want to go too into the Logan Paul shit. I mean, we all know, we know who Logan Paul is, you know, at this point. Like, it's been pretty obvious the last, like, 7 years, you know? But at the same time, like, even if this wasn't, like, even if LA Knight winning the belt wasn't hot off the heels of another case of Logan Paul being a dumbass on Twitter, I feel like I just don't want to see Logan again, at least until the Rumble. Yeah. Like, I think we need a break.
This is a good way to end it, I think. I think if we're going to end Logan Paul's, like, you know, kind of running the company, I think this would be a good time to do it.
Because they know that he's going to get booed every time. It doesn't matter what they do. He can leave, come back as a face. He's going to get booed. He got booed in his hometown. You're exactly right.
Well, it's like the Jericho thing, though, right? Where it's like he's going to get, like, they'll just use that.
I know, but like Jericho has like a history about him, and like there's a reason why he's there. But like Logan Paul, he's literally just there because he's a big name on the internet. So like,
I also don't know what the next version of how you use him is, right? Like, you've done the thing of him, like, can he hang with the bit, and you've done that, and now he's had a title reign. I don't think this title reign gives anyone any interest in him having a bigger title reign. So it's like, Yeah, I don't know.
I never want him near the world title.
Right, because remember that was a weird. The thing, people were going with that for a minute, and it's like, no, we do not need to do that.
No, we don't.
And they burned it twice. Like, listen, his matches with Roman and Cody are like among his better matches.
They're fantastic
in the company, in my opinion. Which
match with Roman is fucking phenomenal.
Like, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It really is, right? But like, I don't know. I feel like at this point, you just kind of got to use him for big like spot fest shit. Like, you just got to keep throwing him in there with like people who can match his
royals, you know.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, ladder matches. Throw in a shit ton of ladder matches.
There you go.
Honestly, I guess I'll go next if nobody minds. Unless somebody else would like to go next.
All good, brother.
Why do you want to go next?
I would like to.
Why? I think you should cut him off and go next.
I will cut him off. I will go to hell.
The cut on my head.
The cut on my head. That was skeeting out his head. That was my nut fuckers. Anyway.
God bless you, Chad.
This isn't really a match, as it's more so just an angle that was presented at SummerSlam. I was going to talk about Drew and Punk, but to be honest, match didn't do a hell of a lot for me, so I'll let someone else.
I'm surprised. I thought you were bringing that for sure. I thought you were going to bring Drew.
No, I thought you were going to talk about that as well.
No. I just want to talk about the Judgment Day stuff, if I may. If y'all. Sorry, Simon.
Okay. So context, Mr. Hulbert. I specifically said before the pod that I wanted to do the Judgment Day stuff, and he's just absolutely fucking bagged it from me.
I'm railroading this.
Fine. I see how it is. I'm not big enough yet. I gotta do some laps. I gotta run the ropes a bit more. I see how it is.
All right.
Do some push-ups.
Oh no, I'm mainly talking about Rhea and Liv. I know what you thought I meant, but okay.
Okay. I got you. All right.
No.
Joker's trick, pussy. You got fucking destroyed.
We'll get more into that in the second half, which I'm sure Simon will present. So I'll just go ahead and introduce one here. Good opening match, I must say. Rhea versus Liv.
Really liked it.
I think that Liv is certainly found a stride with this new character. I mean, she's certainly getting the views on Twitter and whatnot, and all over the community.
Hey, if you get people talking, that's how you get. That's how you start walking. Huh?
I will say though, this match was quite good. She definitely showed a lot of what, guess.
No, I'm just saying I'm full of catchphrases.
I heard you snickering over there.
I'm full of catchphrases today. Keep going.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this was pretty good. Anyway, moving on.
Cool. Yeah.
Match rules. Next.
Rhea popping her shoulder back in, and everyone popped for it.
I really thought, because it really did look like it was separated. I was just like, oh my god, are we really doing this? Are we doing another Finn Balor thing right now? No fucking way, dude.
Oh my god.
And then she did that spot, and I didn't see it for a second. I just saw the table hit.
Yeah.
And Dominic backing away, and I was just like, did Dominic just hit her on the table or something? I'm like, did I just miss something? And they're like, oh, she just popped her arm back in. I'm like, oh, okay, damn, that was weird.
The heel turn just happens there. Tom just chucks her into the table. Jesus Christ.
But no, I mean, look, Rhea Ripley. I mean, what else is there to say? She's fantastic. Probably one of the best women's wrestlers of this era, I would say.
Yeah.
Character-wise and ring work wise, she's just amazing. Really, that she really is kind of like that evolution of China and those old school women's wrestlers, you know.
Oh yeah,
definitely. She's got to stop using Riptide.
Riptide, I think she makes it look good, but to be honest, I like her submission a lot better. The
Prism trap, that stuff, that is so crazy.
Sick move, genuinely, right?
Yeah, it's so cool.
So cool.
But yeah, no. Liv also showed up quite well in this match. I thought. The way she hit the what's it called, Oblivion. I think that
the one on the chair was crazy.
Yeah. I thought that move looked pretty damn stupid when she first started doing it, but she's been adding more of an oomph to it recently, and it's definitely worked a lot.
Well, if people like Rhea who are spiking themselves on the impact,
it really comes down to who's bumping it, right? The same thing with
it's just like it's like when Dean Ambrose was doing the shitty what was that move where he had
the dirty deeds, the first
one? The bulldog,
one,
yeah, I remember that shit.
It's that move looks good if you have someone good selling it, you know.
Someone like Kofi who does the handstand sell,
I think the story is I think the Oblivion she first did in a dark match with Athena. Mm-hmm. And the place went crazy, so then she started to use it as a finish. But obviously, with the exact logic you just gave there, imagine how Athena took that move, right?
Exactly. Athena's incredible.
I'm sure it did look really cool. So yeah, it could be dependent. But I think I'm with you in general on Liv. I think Like, she's probably never going to be someone who like is churning out classics. I think that's what she needs to be. She's got a lot better though, and she turned heel.
I've always found her quite entertaining.
Yeah,
like I think like charisma wise, like she's super charismatic. Obviously, she's great on the mic. I like her segments. They're all very memorable. Right. And she definitely is one of those people who definitely tried her ass off, I think.
That's it, yeah.
Shit.
And that's a big thing, man. So. That always makes a difference. You can always get the sense she's throwing herself into stuff, right? So it's like, and that comes through the screen. This is the first thing she's ever really had that's like, you can actually sink your teeth into it from a character point of view. Before this, she's just Liv.
I wish.
I think this is like the oh, dude.
I'm sorry.
Where's the lie?
There it is. And there it is.
Where's the lie?
Folks, where's the lie?
We've been the good time, Bruv. We'll see you later.
Bro, genuinely. But like, that's the thing with Punk, right? Like, if you don't think he's that... Like, Liv is like not that good of a wrestler,
sink my teeth
right?
into him too, sure. No.
I'll sink. Hey. I'm just saying, like, Liv, like you said, Liv doesn't. Liv doesn't pump out classics, like you said. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Punk is not going to be pumping out classics in this run. But like, if they get people talking about them, that's all that matters. Like, gimmick is half of the reason why people love wrestlers. So like,
of course, yeah.
If Liv is doing a good job, then yeah.
Yeah, it's wrestling TV. Like on Raw, you got 3 hours to fill. So you need different personalities. You need personalities at all. You need You need people that you can send out to talk for 10 minutes, and the folks won't switch off. Like that's ultimately, that's
you got Raw, NXT, SmackDown, Level Up, Speed. It's like what 7.5 hours of content they have to book every week, which is crazy.
Level Up is fucking nuts, man. I've been seeing highlights on that shit. I was like,
people are so good.
They always throw the people on there who are gonna blow up like in one random match, and I feel like it's like Sol Ruka and Javon Evans were both like big on like.
Javon is the quickest rise I've ever seen.
Yeah, because you can tell on Level Up, that's where they're starving, like they're chomping at the bit, like we got to get noticed here. Like if we're even on NXT at all, like Level Up, like we gotta fucking try here.
Because then you get a spot like. Look at like Javon and Sol, like have really shown.
Level Up is mostly like athletes that, like you can tell people like Tiffany Stratton. She admitted she didn't like grow up watching wrestling. She just completely learned how to do it from being in the PC and stuff like that. But then you have guys like Javon who have been on the indies for the last like 5 years, and then for him to get an opportunity like that and be in a main event of a pay-per-view for the world title in NXT. Is really, really impressive. That took him like 4 or 5 months, I think, which is very, very impressive. I really hope that they treat him well because love that dude.
NXT is it's a fascinating spot right now for wrestlers, young and old, actually, any free agent, because they have
Ethan
2
Page.
hours. For real, right? It's like if you're a wrestler who's in the mid card somewhere else, and I like Ethan Page, but respectfully, if you're a mid carder elsewhere, you got to look at that and think like, I have a shot, right? Like, and Ethan has skills that not everyone like. He's a good promo, and he's a great promo. The big thing with Ethan is he knows what he can and can't do, and he believes in himself, and that'll get you very far. So I'm very happy for him. But if you're a guy who's elsewhere and your contract's coming up, Ethan Page is the champ, and Sean Spears is on TV almost every week, and it's like.
That makes me so happy.
Spears is like what 56, like,
and it's like it's an example of this show. They have 2 hours every week on TV. They're about to switch TV deal, and it's like, dude, there's a lot of vacancies there. So it's enticing for people, And I think you're going to see. I think we're going to see a really weird roster in NXT here sooner than later.
Well, dude, dude, that picture on Twitter a few days ago, fucking Daniel Garcia is North American champion, and the Lucha Bros is the tag team.
I mean, honestly, I don't know anything. I mean, like you look at the Daniel Garcia Lucha Bros. I look at Motor City Machine Guns. It's like it's going to be an interesting time, dude. I don't know what this looks like by the end of the year.
That's the thing. Like Motor City Machine Guns strikes me as an act that should have been in NXT in like 2016, and like. Granted, I'm glad it didn't happen then because we all know what happens to the poor souls that would get called up in 2016, 2017, 9 times out of 10, unless you're like a Kevin Owens or like the Four Horsewomen, for example, like some like people who really stick out, right? But like, I mean, I agree wholeheartedly, and I mean, I know there's all this talk about Garcia, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if he jumped. I'm not going to the reality with Garcia,
guys, is anyone who's pretending they know what he's going to do is lying because he doesn't know yet. That's the truth, you know. Like it's he's got a really tough decision. Really does.
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of sticking out, Dominic, you motherfucker! I can't believe this guy. Dominic Mysterio.
Unreal.
Back to SummerSlam.
Living the life, Dominic Mysterio.
Dude, fuck this guy, man. Fuck him so hard, man. This dude comes
How do you double turn? Can we talk about this?
Yeah. Turning heel was a heel. Yeah.
And then he turned mega heel.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Man. Levels.
I really, because you were the one that predicted this on our predictions last week, Cass. You were the one that predicted that he would actually turn on Rhea, and I'm like, no chance, they're not doing that. They're not fucking doing that. I thought that just Finn would kind of split off from the group. I thought that was going to be the whole thing.
I still think
we got both. So.
I think it's overall the plan. I feel like if you don't mind me bridging into what's.
One more thing. I'm gonna
finish
up real quick. I thought the spot itself was really good because I was just like, oh wow, like because this is a very new thing now because now Rhea is definitely going to be obviously the face now. She's turned face for like a couple weeks now, obviously, but this definitely solidified it.
Yep.
Which is definitely a good choice because she is just ridiculously over right now. And to have someone that over with Dominic, who is a guy who is very much a heel, who is probably not really going to get cheered a whole lot, is definitely a smart decision. I think this is the best way to go for that. And fuck Dominic, by the way. Dude, you're married to a fucking smoking hot woman. You're with Rhea and Liv. Like, you're making out with... You're having Rhea Ripley lick you in front of millions of people? Like,
it's the life, dude.
And then making out with Liv Morgan with tongue. Like, man, fuck.
He's the son to his father.
I guess.
Eddie
Guerrero.
Dom has to get... I mean, like... I love Dom. And like I'm not saying like I think Dom's like the greatest wrestler on the roster. He's definitely gotten a lot better, which is awesome.
Oh,
what did I say earlier about people? Like half of the reason people were over is because of their character and stuff.
Yeah,
like nice no fucking Will Ospreay, but the dude's over his shit. You know,
and his wrestling matches his gimmick too, right? Like they work together. So yeah, I'm with you completely.
And
sending him to NXT and having that little North American title run, that was a huge boost for him.
I think that helped with him a lot. Yeah, dude, we need him to have that fluke world title run, honestly. I need it.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that, him and Dragon Lee.
That was a good match.
It's crazy. I remember the road to WrestleMania last year and like kind of thinking, ridiculous to look back on now, I remember thinking like, what do they do with Dom once this Ray feud's done? Because I wasn't watching closely, so in my head I was just like, he has heat because he turned on his dad, and it's Ray. Like,
yeah,
dude, I was so far off. Like, he's got stronger since then. His performance is way better, but he's also got maybe not just as much heat before Saturday, but now after Saturday, he's definitely got as much heat as
tonight is gonna be a fucking spectacle. Genuinely, like he's gonna be he's gonna have like that Roman Reigns Mania 33 type beat. Honestly,
it's awesome. He has a clear role on the roster. It's awesome.
It's fucking rad, dude.
So yeah, Simon, go ahead.
I will bridge into
half of this Judgment Day,
which was personally like I think it's funny we were talking about Joe. Like the first thing Joe says, like it all depends how much you care about Finn Balor and Damian Priest, and I was like, this was not just like my favorite angle on the show, other than obvious at the end. But it was my favorite match on the card. I thought Priest and Gunther was fucking fantastic. Genuinely, I think Priest has. It's weird. I think since he almost snapped his leg in brutal fashion at Clash of the Castle, like people have just like,
I'm like, wait my god, I completely forgot about that.
I think it's partially a bit, but it's like that kind of changed shit for people watching him wrestle. I feel like because like seeing him work that match with Drew and it was very physical and they were going back and forth, and seeing him do that post that like people thought his leg was cooked and all that, and I think that changed a lot. And I think this match just added to that. Gunther is just... he's the best. He's the best in the world. I'm sorry. I say it every week, partially bidding, partially not. In my opinion...
No, you're right.
He's the fucking man.
Currently, top 5 for me.
Oh, dude, speaking of which, speaking of Dominic, that one match that he had with Dominic on Raw, that shit ruled. That was awesome. He was just whooping his ass, and it was just...
Did you see Gunther's body language when they're doing the ring introductions? And he had that smug grin on his face. And it was so perfect because the reason he's great, especially in this current setup, everyone has their thing in WWE. When they say your name, you hit your pose. You know, you go on the middle rope. Gunther just stood there like, I'm going to beat the hell out of this dude. He's awesome.
Yeah, he was locked in, dude. So well, and that's natural progression for him because the reason he lost the IC title was because he was being a cocky asshole and he was jabbering off to Sammy's wife, and then that cost him everything, right?
This is why I love this new Gunther, because Walter was literally just, I'm the ring general, you're going to die. Now he's like, I'm the ring general,
you're trash.
You're going to die. You know, it's like, it doesn't matter what you say. I'm rich. You're stupid. I hate you. I'm gonna beat your ass. It's like, oh my god,
so well because
it does because he can back it up. That's the thing. He's never had a bad match in this company. Never.
Damian Priest was like, please, Speed, I need this. My mom's kind of homeless.
Dude, Gunther can get... That's the thing that's like why he's like the perfect package. Because it's like, he's such an asshole, but like, you can't doubt the guy at this point. It takes it takes him getting either trucked by a bigger, but not a bigger fish, but like a similar like physical guy like Dragunov, like an NXT, or it's Ultimate Underdog, like fight from underneath, right? It's why, like, man... I know, like, that story leaked the same day. They got to do Gunther and Cena for the world title at Mania next year.
Sure.
Like, I think that's 100% the play. I think that match would be
that is a fucking main event that I would literally pay top dollar for.
I think that's by far the strongest of the options for Cena as an old man wrestler. Like, because there he can be an old man wrestler. He can sell. He can be vulnerable. Sounds awesome.
We will be mid Cena last year, and he's locking in for this year. I am 100% certain he's going to be fantastic.
Yeah. Like, because, I mean, he's literally the greatest of all time in my eyes. So, like, for him to have this big retirement, like, tour thing, like, he's definitely got to lock in. I think he knows that, too.
I agree.
You need, like, a proper, unconquerable, seemingly bad guy for him to go up against. And it's like, it's not going to be Roman anymore. It's not going to... I mean, I don't know how I would feel about the final boss, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson wrestling John Cena in 2024.
We'll get to that, because that's going to be interesting.
I've kind of had my fill of Cena versus Roman or The Rock. I've kind of had my fill already. We've seen that, I mean, like, I agree.
Times. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about the whole bloodline shit later. So I'll just say I'll go back to... I thought Priest Gunther, especially... Sometimes, like we saw it earlier in the show with like the Punk Drew thing, the soap opera shit can like really pull away from a match. I actually thought it added a lot to this because it was like as soon as Finn came out, the crowd like perked up because I think they kind of knew what was coming. But then they did a good job like rope-a-dope you, like when Priest fucking let loose on Gunther and the crowd was going insane. He hit his 2 finishes back to back. I remember thinking, I was like, fuck. Gunther's going to lose. And this was the only match I cared about. I was like, Gunther has to win this match. I'm so like adamant about this. Priest wins, and I feel like, what do you fucking do at that point?
That and LA Knight were the 2 matches where I was like, yeah, like, if you pick the other person, like, what are you doing? What would you do here?
And then, I mean, the execution... Maybe don't roll the guy to the ropes next time, Damien.
Yeah, that was jarring as shit, wasn't it?
That was such a shame, man. Because I think, other than that, I think this is the best Priest has ever looked. I thought he was great on the SummerSlam, and then that one moment was like, it totally broke your immersion, right? It was like, oh man,
you had it won. You had it won, brother. Like,
what a shame. Yeah.
Go ahead.
He's another one of these guys, like Damien Priest, like he's kind of like LA Knight, where in the sense where like they're hitting their stride in their 40s. Like Damien Priest is 41 years old right now. He's still moving really well for that age. Like I was kind of shocked to find out he was actually that old. And I do think he's actually getting better and better, which is really cool.
I agree.
Yeah. You see Damien Priest hitting those fucking roundhouse kicks and stuff. I'm like, goddamn.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy. It's like the snappiest he's looked.
Compared to that weird like U.S. title run that he had, and that whole like feud with like Sheamus and everything, like that whole thing.
I like to put that in the cupboard.
Yeah, exactly.
Never talk about
that was when they were doing that was when they were doing the fucking I'm in
Damien mode.
No, we can't let the Damien mode out.
No, not
bad shit's gonna happen.
I'd forgotten that. Wow.
Oh, not Priest mode.
Oh, Priest mode's crazy.
But yeah, I thought that the angle was awesome. I thought the near fall when Priest Superman's out of the sleeper and rolled him up was sick awesome.
Him breaking out of the sleeper and then immediately going for Finn. Great spot.
That was cool. That was really cool.
Because it protected him. He still looked good, and then you still gave Gunther one of those like, yes, but I am better than you, and I can back it up. Like, exactly. I think Wyatt and I talked about this. I love the Gunther match finishes when he does a barrage, like when he power bombed him, flipped him over, and just immediately cinched the choke back in. Like, that's a wrestler right there. That's just a fucking. And I'm curious where we go from here with Gunther. We obviously know what we're doing with Priest, and if I'm wagered to guess, I think it's going to be Dom. I think it's going to be either. I'm willing to bet it'll be Finn, Dom, and Liv versus Priest, maybe JD and Rhea in Berlin.
So I was going to say,
mixed tag.
Do you think that the Judgment Day is just kind of like new people now, or do you think it's officially done and it's like a new group now?
I think they're just bloodlining it. I think they're just splitting it.
I feel bad for Carlito.
Yeah. I was gonna say, what happens to him now? Like, is he going to be like divided? Like, he's like, who do I choose?
Did you see that JD posted pictures of him ripping his Judgment Day shirt, and he said never liked the shirt anyway?
So they are done then.
It actually would be kind of awesome if like things have got so bad for Damian Priest that he's going to have to just. Carlito's the one guy who sticks with him. He's like, that was wrong, man. I'm sorry. I don't know why they did that to you.
They're both from Puerto Rico. Those two were cooked. I like
that. So.
Material, I think Carlito would be very, very funny. Like he goes to the club and just Carlito sit on his own.
That's such a good segment. You have David Priest come in. No one's there except Carlito. It's like, I have no one to play with. And then they just sit down and play PS5 for an hour.
With the chicken tendies. It's like, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. See, Carlito's good for those segments. I don't need to see him wrestle every week, but, he does good. Right. He does good.
Yeah, he's very funny in the segment.
He'd be a great manager, I think.
Yeah.
It's a good shout.
I hope and pray to whoever it is that I have to hope and pray to that Finn finally drops the shitty pants gimmick with the mask and the do-rag and finally just goes back to the underwear with the fucking
Can we get the theme back? Oh my god.
At least the theme. That's all I want, man. Because dude, that theme song he has right now is straight ass. Like,
I mean,
ass.
Yes, but that's kind of the norm now, right? It's a bit of that's like the weakest part of the promotion, dude. They've even improved on some of the title belts.
Awful.
I was gonna say, can we talk about this? The fucking music, the entrance music
is so bad.
Well, Def Rebel, we know Def Rebel is cooked, man.
The Bailey theme is like a real
role model.
I don't like that one as much, actually.
It sounds like 4 different songs, man.
So bad.
This note should not go here. What the fuck are you doing?
Genuinely, her theme sounds like you're skipping songs.
Yes.
Like, that shit sound fire on mute.
Role model. It's like, what the fuck?
At the very least, the role model's got to go. Dude. The role model is crazy.
Role model.
That's the thing. A lot of the old themes would like my favorite example to bring up is fucking Karrion Kross, where it's like Karrion Kross, bless him. He's getting paid.
He's trying.
That old theme that he had in the entrance did make him look legit. Like, it did. Like, before the bell would ring. Like, the old theme and the black and white and the fire shooting out. What?
Before they ring the damn bell.
Oh, my God. They ring the
freaking bell.
Yeah.
Never heard that one before. That's a classic right there. More people should tweet about that promo.
I don't think anyone tweeted about that yet.
The 2008 SmackDown roster was stacked. Guys.
Cool. Good call.
That's Cesaro hot tag from 2016. Was the greatest hot tag.
The other one is the Joe promo when
Joe coached the roster in 2018. Yeah.
You guys, Enzo More and Simon Gotch.
Simon Gotch.
No, you just said that, and it's gonna be on my recommended now on my
YouTube
man. Fucker.
Fucking hell.
Okay, but that's all I want to do. Joe, what was your big standout of the show personally?
Well, honestly, I think the best actual options have come off the board. So I'm now going to go. I'm going to take the swing at this CM Punk Drew McIntyre business. So before I go any further, I liked this, but it's complicated.
Me too.
Very complicated.
Yes.
It was a weird one for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces. So in a vacuum, I actually think it was quite effective. I thought they did a really good job of. At times using Seth, I think it got way excessive, but I think at times there was some parts I actually liked, especially with Punk and Seth. I like their dynamic, even though I'm not the biggest Seth fan. I think they have a cool dynamic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The issue, of course, is the match doesn't exist in a vacuum, and they did really sell this as something that would be very violent and very intense. And Exactly, and that's what I'm kind of struggling with. Is like, if I just assess it for what it was, I actually think it was very well done. Very well is pretty true. It was well done. Mm-hmm. But does that count? Does that matter when people feel like they were kind of fooled a little bit? The reason I'm more bullish on it is my expectations for this match changed as soon as it became a special guest referee. Because to me, if this was going to be the blood feud match and it was going to be, chaos and Punk and Drew, I just don't think you insert Seth. I think as soon as he was added, it changes the dynamic. And I think for what that dynamic was, I thought they did it pretty well. I actually thought, and I appear to be on an island with this, which is fine, but I actually thought Punk looked pretty good, honestly.
So did I. I did too, honestly.
Yeah,
I saw
he's in that stage that Cena is in nowadays.
Yeah. I was gonna say
he hits the 6 or 7 moves, and then you just let the other guy do whatever the hell he wants, and it's just like
I wonder, because I didn't think this match was as bad as people were saying it was. Like I've seen people saying like, "Wow, that shit sucks." CM Punk's cooked. I'm just like, it was a very different match than people were expecting, and that's just what it was.
Yeah,
like this was the angle match. This was just to get them like fighting, get the.
He hit the classics. He hit the elbow, he hit the knee, he hit the Anaconda Vice, and the GTX. Right. What more do you want? It's CM Punk in 2024. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and I do think I thought he did a good job of, like, capturing as much intensity as he could in a match that was so, like, set-piece heavy, right? And, like, drama heavy. His selling was great. It's, like, the biggest thing to me, there's 2 X factors for the match, Seth and the friendship bracelet. And, like, the Seth part of it, I'm very much... It's mixed bag for me. Some of it I liked, some of it I didn't. The big thing that I think killed this match for people that I actually liked impossibly, and I'm questioning my own feeling, but I'm not going to lie to myself, I liked it.
Yep.
When Punk went for the bracelet the first time.
That was awesome.
I can't explain to you why it worked, but I'm not going to pretend I thought it worked. And I think the people was with it too. They reacted to that. When he was in the Vice and he saw the bracelet. Yep. I thought it was effective. Now, the folks that hated it, I can't really debate them because I concede that it is ultimately a friendship bracelet in the middle of a
blood feud,
I think Punk is such a unique character that I can actually buy. Like, I buy that means that much to him, and he's losing his mind.
If your love for your wife is that like much, you don't need this fucking bracelet.
Exactly, and it's one of those things, and this happens a lot in anything. It's like it kind of does fall apart when you think about it. Like, dude, let go submissions are great, but I can't pretend otherwise. When it happened, I was like all in on that, and I think Cleveland was too. So,
the crowd was white hot. The crowd was nuclear for this whole thing. Which I think also, if the crowd was dead for this, it would have been a lot worse. I feel like.
I think we undermined that he also kicked out of a Claymore.
Yeah.
Which is like,
which is very rare.
Seth kicked out of like 7 of those at
WrestleMania. True. But generally, it's
that move is nowhere near as protected as it used to be. Right. It used like, dude, like Sheamus, Gunther, Seth, Roman, everybody's kicked out of that fucking move. So it's
a really, really interesting match. I wish the conversations about it were interesting. Unfortunately,
I wish people didn't suck,
Yeah, because I actually
cool about things.
I actually love talking a match that has a clear idea of where it wants to be and it divides people. I actually think can be a really fun conversation. I think we're having that now, and we all felt differently about different parts of it. But it's like
it really does feel like everyone is just kind of like, even with movies too or TV shows, everyone's just going like, "Fuck this." Just nothing. Like, wow, this is the worst thing I've ever seen, and people like this.
I don't know.
It's like,
it's a shame.
What happened?
It's a shame. I'd like, because I think there are very real issues with the match, and I think we just laid out a few of them.
Exactly.
But I think there was a lot to like about it too, and I think there was clear evidence in this match. I think Drew and Punk can have like an actual, truly satisfying match. I think there was evidence of it here,
and they will.
I think. I think.
Like you said. Go on, Wyatt.
I was going to say, there's a reason that Bad Blood is like one of their next pay-per-views.
Yeah.
The reason is because this will like main event probably.
I reckon at Bash in Berlin, because that's next, you can do like Seth and Drew or something along those lines, and then at Bad Blood, cap this off, all 3 of them, maybe not even all 3 of them, just Drew and Punk, and just have a proper hardcore match or something along those lines. Yeah. Maybe even Hell in a Cell.
Cell.
Something along those
Last
lines.
man standing.
The Cell would
First
be
Blood
good.
even would be cool.
Yeah.
What I'm worried of. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
I was just saying. I think shit. I think
You should be sorry.
The thing with Bad Blood though is like. There's like, oh my god, dude. Well, and there he goes. And there he fucking goes.
No!
And Figure Camo Studio, we did it.
Keep talking.
I think the problem with Bad Blood is like the Hell in a Cell problem, where it's like they have so many things lined up. It'd be Hell in a Cell.
Yes.
Because they could do Punk and Drew. It could be Punk and Seth. It could be fucking if Cody and Randy is the plan for the fall, which I think it is. It could be Cody and Randy. It could be Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa in a Hell in a Cell match. Sounds like most frightening.
That's where I was going. Yeah, that's what the only thing that worries me about this is like
kill
Why'd you say that?
I appreciate the Triple H the patient booker, but like, you know, I hope he doesn't. I don't know if this Punk Drew Seth thing needs to go on. Like, I see people talk about WrestleMania, and I'm like, man, WrestleMania.
No, I think that's Punk and Seth. I think Punk and Seth one-on-one is what they're going for.
I think
Blood is it.
I think you can do the Seth match. You're gonna have to be careful about how much time apart they have, right? Like, you have to space it out. I think it'll be interesting. Punk's hopefully he can just stay in the game. Like, that's the biggest thing. We're talking big plans, but
the fact that he didn't get hurt is like the big plus from this. Honestly, genuinely,
exactly.
Good. Yeah, I mean, because this match, I rewatched this because I rewatched the last. Well, not the entire of the main event. I only watched like the last 10 minutes of the main event because, good God Almighty, I rewatched Priest Gunther. I rewatched this, and I'm like, surprisingly, I actually liked it more when I watched it again. Because I was having fun. Listen, I have fun watching anything Punk related with my brother because my brother is probably the biggest CM Punk fan that I know, and and if you can't tell, I might like to prod at him a little bit. And when Drew won, I took great glee in that. And I think Drew absolutely needed to fucking win. The fact that he needed it. If he had lost here, it would have really hurt him like really badly, in my opinion. And if he loses the feud now, it's like, whatever. I agree with Joe where it's like, you got to find a way to keep it fresh if you're really going to drag this out for a while. Because that was the problem with the Bloodline stuff, was like, for 2 months, it felt like the Bloodline was just running into a wall every single week, and we were doing the same thing over and over again. If I was them, I think the way to spice up, I think Drew or Punk, one of them should end up somehow should end up on SmackDown, and then maybe one of them goes after Cody at WrestleMania, and then the other one wins the Royal Rumble, and then maybe
I think Cody and Punk is the way to do it.
Cody and Punk, or Cody, Punk, and Drew in a triple threat, I think could actually work at WrestleMania.
No.
Find a way.
We need to end this Drew shit now. Bad Blood, him and Drew, Hell in a Cell, and they never look at each other ever again.
Well, now, I guess my other thing was like, if it's Punk and Cody, I think Punk should absolutely, if he's going to beat Cody, which I think is a possibility, I think he should turn heel to do it. Because if you can get Punk to turn heel against anyone, you should turn him on Cody because everybody loves him. Yeah. And I think you can then loop back to Drew and Punk as a double turn feud, and Drew can be the righteous babyface come for revenge to beat Punk, which I think
that was what I always wanted in AEW, was like the idea that after, you know, Punk eventually turns and then Eddie Kingston comes back around is like, I told all of you this guy sucks. You know, you should listen to
exactly.
it. I always wanted that. I don't think that was ever coming anyway, but we certainly didn't get it.
I think it was going to be cool. MJF. It was probably going to be MJF doing that
probably
shit.
Probably so. Yeah, I remember the build to the Hangman match. It's so funny to look back on this stuff now because now it's like lore, right? And I remember we did the Late Night Grid, and we're like, you know, this Hangman build is pretty weird, guys. It feels like something's up here, and everyone in the chat's like, no, it's just Punk's turning heel.
That's what I thought. I was saying for months that Punk was turning heel. Like,
honestly, dude, that was our chat entirely, and I remember just thinking, I don't know. I think Punk's just going to win this thing. And obviously, I had no idea that, you know, what was truly going on. But
nobody,
it's hilarious.
Nobody
hilarious
really did. God, it's just at the end again, like, everybody's doing their own things now. Everybody's doing pretty good where everybody's at, you know. So it's like, who fucking cares? But yeah, I thought Punk Drew was solid. I think he did a good job. I think you outlined it like really well, Joe. It's just I get why people didn't like it, but like I had fun with it. I think the Cell match could really be something spectacular if it's given its time. It could also be a big mess if these guys try and go like 30, 40 minutes. I feel like I don't know if Punk can do that.
No, I'm not sure. Especially the problem Punk has is and this is something Cena's going to combat here coming up, is these are both guys, they're not naturals in terms of the physicality, right? They're not smooth pro wrestlers.
Yeah.
And Cena's talked about it. They're both guys, they need rhythm. And to get rhythm, they need to have reps. The only problem with having reps with your CM Punk is, can his body actually sustain those reps, right? It's like, the best thing for CM Punk's performance would be to wrestle every week. He can't wrestle.
Honestly.
Like, you know, that's the issue. And I think he's fully aware of that as a conflict. It's like, it would be great for him if he could get out there and work. Like, if he was wrestling, you know, a Finn Balor on a Sunday night at a house show, that would be great for him. But the problem is, you're going to risk the investment that way with another injury. It's a shame.
Well, they did that with Dom. Well, that's what they did with Dom. They had those two house show matches, which actually showed that he was fine. The Rumble thing was just a total fucking freak accident, in my opinion, which happens every now and again. But we'll see. Because you're gonna need to find ways to keep Punk occupied until Bad Blood, because I don't know what the hell. It could very well be Drew and Gunther at Berlin. I feel like there's a chance it could be that. I'm rooting for Ilya. I want them to do it because I think that could propel Ilya. But whatever they do with these three, I don't know if they're even going to be on Berlin. Punk was in the fucking promo ad for it, so I feel like maybe he'll be involved somehow. Maybe he'll just make an appearance. I don't really know.
Yeah.
But solid stuff. And then obviously we can't get out of here talking about SummerSlam without the big in at the end of the show. 29 minutes of Solo Sikoa versus Cody Rhodes, 26 of which were something. They were something, all right. They were certainly doing moves. They were hitting each other with
Tonga Loa missed the turnbuckle completely.
He's got to be doing it on purpose, dude. Like it can't be. Dude,
it's because he has an eye patch. He can't see.
I have never seen anything like what Tangaloa is currently producing. Like, he's.
Is it a bit? Because, like, dude, this guy sucks.
I honestly think what it is like. And I could be wrong. He may not even be on social, but I think he's now like going to his head to a point where like everything goes wrong because he's so nervous. He looks terrified when he's on TV. Like,
that's so true. Actually, he must have stage fright.
And it's like he seems like a really, really cool guy, and like he was never Bret Hart. But what he's currently doing is like, as people say, like, oh, he's washed. It's like, being washed wouldn't mean you can't place a guy in the corner. Like, something's up here. Like, everything is going wrong. He can't do a low blow right now. Like, it's. Well, we've never seen anything like this.
Didn't he get his bell rung? Didn't he get his bell rung at Money in the Bank?
He got hurt there. God bless him. I think we're currently watching a historical run in terms of like input output. Like, he's in the main angle in wrestling, and he is. Not really in it at all. You know?
If you get people talking, you're doing the right thing.
There you go. Yeah.
In any way you can.
Dude, we were making bits about Tonga Loa like a month before he showed up in the company, and I'll never forget like when Tonga Loa showed up at Backlash.
My heart.
That cast was just broken. I've never seen a man more.
Dude, my heart sunk that day. I couldn't believe it.
I just started laughing, dude. I was laughing so.
You could only laugh, right? You could only laugh. It was. I remember because I was watching it with my brother, and he was I was explaining to him Tama Tonga, and I was like, yeah, he's tagged him his brother too. He's so they bring his brother, and I was like, no, dude, his brother's terrible. He's not coming in. Like, he's not bringing in Tanga Loa, and then he appeared, and I was like, oh shit.
Like, Tama Tonga's crazy enough, but Tonga Loa. I was like,
the thing, though,
oh my god.
Tama hasn't been that bad since he's
he's been good.
He's been decent, you know.
I mean,
hey, that gets people talking, right? Like,
Tama and Hikuleo are not, they're not technicians in there, but compared to poor old Tonga, it's, when they get Hikuleo in, I don't know what Tanga's even going to do, because I don't know what role he plays at that point.
Well, I'm just scared that so do we know, are we like confirmed that the Jacob thing was a work, or is he,
here's the thing, right? I've seen people say he was fine, and then I've seen pictures of him with a leg brace on.
So, what we know...
I don't think it's that serious. It might just be like a sprain.
Right.
It could just be that.
So this is a weird one. So he was supposed to sell his leg.
Yeah.
Because, and I assume that the reason being that was the way of getting him out of the scene for Roman, right?
For Roman to do his thing, yeah.
They want to save that for later.
But because he's Jacob Fatu and everyone's terrified of him, we have no insight on as to whether or not we have a freak situation here where he injured himself on a spot where he was supposed to be allegedly
pretending to be injured.
Right. But because I totally buy that dude may just be wearing a walking boots to just pop himself. Yeah. He's nuts, right? Like, he's insane.
Wasn't he telling people Mania weekend that he was going to be involved in the main event of Night 2?
He was telling people on Mania week that he was coming in, and honestly, 80% of them didn't believe him because he's nuts, and like he just says things. So like in the 2 months, you know, when it was reported like he's coming in and then he didn't show up for a while.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how many people in wrestling, quote unquote, were like, it ain't happening. He's lying. It was a real, because he's a wild card, man. No one's going to tell him to his face he's full of shit, right? Like,
no.
You're like, okay, man.
It's absolutely insane watching a Solo Sikoa match, and then like 30 minutes later, you see Jacob Fatu hit this whisper in the wind. You're like, oh, we're back. Holy shit.
I can wake up now.
It's strange. Yeah,
it's so whack. Like, dude, this whole thing would be so much more engaging if Jacob was, because Jacob being the new tribal chief would have been fresh. Like he's a new face that people, I feel like it would have added more to the whole false chief thing. Because
Roman Reigns,
not many people are
Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu with Solo Sikoa, 10 stars. Bad blood. Do it.
Just do that.
Sure.
Well,
Roman and Jacob would cook.
See, now that we're
if you have to do this Roman and Solo shit, at least give me him and Jacob at a pay-per-view beforehand. Like,
I would even take do Roman and Cody versus Solo and Jacob in like a tag or something like that. I think that might be all right. I don't really know.
Yeah, like I really like the idea of Solo just being kind of a pawn in the sense that like I'm really into this idea that now that he's let all these renegades and crazy dudes in, they just kill him at the first sign of trouble. Like,
well, that would play into the fucking like the mistakes. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Joe.
Hey, you're fine.
Yeah, the whole like, oh, we don't accept mistakes. Like, it would be kind of awesome if on Friday they were like, we don't play by mistakes, and then they bring in Hikuleo as like the new enforcer, and then Jacob's.
It would be great. Yeah, and it would get over the idea they were trying to get across. The idea they were trying to get across was there's a reason we didn't let these dudes in, and there's no better way to get that over than they immediately kill the guy who brought them in because now they're in. They don't need him anymore. That'd be great. Right? So,
and we can start letting Jacob actually cut promos on TV because he's a fucking fantastic promo, and he should not just be yelling all the time. Like, I mean, he looks cool, but he should be allowed to like emote, I guess.
Like, even with Tama, it's like, bro, the best part about this guy is his promos. Like,
I don't know why
he's just going like
he's doing his thing.
Dude,
did see him backstage with the psychology. Tag title. He was like looking at the tag title. He was just going like,
oh, dude. I don't even want to talk about the tag title, dude. DIY. I'm in my DIY grieving phase, honestly.
We are.
You know what though? Here's the thing. Yeah. When has DIY ever had a good tag title reign?
That is kind of true.
That's very true.
Well,
I mean, their first tag title reign was like 2 months. It was like 2 months, right? When they won the
that was it.
Right. Because they dropped them AOP. Didn't they drop them too, right?
Yeah.
And then heel turn.
Your two favorite teams, Joe? AOP and DIY?
That's like, it's a Hulbert dream match right there. Nah, dude, 2016 DIY, I was a fan. They're the matches that are reliable. Those matches.
I wish it could be like old times.
I thought they were really good in the match, for whatever that means, or whatever that counts for. Like,
whatever that means.
Yeah, they did a really good job making Jacob look fucking legit, honestly. So it's like.
It came. The thing is, again, it's like in a vacuum. I thought they executed well. It's just that I understand the decision. There's a lot of frustration with there being so much bloodline, which I get. I completely understand.
Like, it's just, you don't want SmackDown to just be the Bloodline show again, but it is. Like, it's just a fact.
It's going to be, yeah.
It's going to happen. And the proof of that is, of course, very random way to just cut. Everybody's done their run-ins. Cody hits the mega Cody cutter, which did look pretty good, honestly. I think Solo took that well. And then Roman's music just hits out of fucking nowhere. And I was really surprised because it was a very, like, sudden thing that just sort of happened.
Yeah.
He has the WrestleMania version of the theme, which is fantastic. I'm really hyped.
It's funny how fucking stupid people are going, I can't believe they gave him a new theme. I'm just like, bro, you all said this theme was badass at Mania 40, and you're complaining.
Dude. I think they forgot, and just the very fact that a theme changes, they immediately jump to those conclusions.
Awesome. Weird. Dude, the fucking, like...
I mean, look, can you blame them? the death rebellism of starting a song with like that boy is bouncy and shit like that. It's like, oh my god, dude! You don't have to tell me who.
I'm the head of the table, or some bullshit like that.
Do you think you're me?
You think you're me? You know what this all started with? This all started with fucking I am in the top 1%. EC.
Oh, dude, greatest of all time.
That feels like a lifetime ago, dude.
Awful.
Imagine how long ago it feels for him.
Dude, you're not on Tyrus, him and Tyrus in a strap.
Oh my god, stop like 6 months ago. You didn't hear about that?
No more Tyrus.
Don't ever bring Tyrus up on this.
No more Tyrus.
Yeah, listen, we can't. Those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. We cannot let it happen.
Good call.
Jesus Christ, Simon.
Am I wrong though? Like, really?
No, you're right.
No.
That's how it works.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed SummerSlam.
We didn't even talk about Roman yet, brother.
He ran in, hit a Superman, hit a spear.
Honestly,
he's over his shit.
I'm gonna say this. I loved when he hit the spear. Loved that shit. When he gave that little nod to Cody, that was like the coolest shit ever. I was like, oh man, this is so badass. Like, we're really just seeing face Roman.
Unfortunately,
so fucking cool.
We can't support this tribal chief return because the OTC is clear OC gimmick infringement. Clear.
That is true.
From the same brain and everything. This cannot stand.
We got you.
Usually they wait until the guys leave the company. At least this is just taken from under them. This is
unbelievable,
dude.
It's even red and black.
It's just insane.
That's true, dude. Imagine if instead of bringing in the Usos, he brings in Gallows and Anderson to help him against the
original tribal club.
Oh my god, dude!
Sick. The tribal club.
The tribal club. Yeah.
That's what they should call the fucking the new Bloodline 2.0 or New Blood or
the tribal club versus the Bloodline.
I mean, it would make sense. I think Tamataga's in the other Bloodline.
There you go. He's got a tie there. I have to say, I think Roman's the coolest. But when that came out as like a scoop over the weekend, it was one of those blatant like we're gonna leak this so people are ready for it.
Yeah,
he's gonna be called the original. It's like, dude. He's like the coolest wrestler. Why does he have to have that name? And he comes up with OTC.
He's just the tribal chief. It's so much more badass, right?
Michael Cole said, like, oh, it's the Roman Empire being rebuilt. I was like, no, the fuck it isn't. He's the tribal chief. What are we doing? It's frustrating. Just let him be the tribal chief again.
If he came back in the vest, that'd be really fucking funny.
Oh my god, he comes up to the old theme.
Oh, he has the goatee. Oh my god.
Damn.
That'd be a very bad idea. Very bad idea.
That's an awful fucking idea, by the way.
Oh,
holy shit.
Thank God the other guy's not around anymore, because that definitely would be what happens, you know? That almost happened.
Yes.
That almost happened a few years ago. So, you know, fucking...
Yikes.
So we have Roman is back now. Do you think we get the Cody Roman trilogy capper in Berlin, or do you think they're going to wait to do that?
Fuck no.
Man, I think politically that's tough. I don't know if you get that match. I honestly, I think it took a lot to get the result they got last time. I don't know. Those two dudes, like, Roman's old school, man. Like, he ain't coming back to put guys over, and like he protects himself, and that's his prerogative. God bless him.
Unless it's his fan, right? Like, he's gonna lose. Like, if they were trying to get Jacob over, for example, I feel like he'd lose to Jacob. Like, I
know people on the internet have this belief, like Cody and Roman hate. I don't think it's that deep at all. I just think it's like, they're top guys and they compare about it. So if you want to book a third match, you're going to need a really good finish where Roman gets hit by, 8 different finishes, and then maybe Cody can roll over and put the arm over him. But,
I just want it because their first two matches are genuinely fantastic.
They have chemistry. Great chemistry. And they're the two top stars. So I'm with you completely. Totally.
Yeah. And then I guess the other last thing is, I'm excited for Roman to be back because we're finally going to get some forward motion. But I mean, it's very hard for me to get invested in this bloodline until I sound like such a fucking mark, but until The Rock comes back, I don't know how much I'm going to get into it, because it's like, he added so much, like I think his run as final boss, like, even like bits aside, we've killed this bit. This bit's gone, right?
As you should.
that is like some of the finest work of Rock's whole fucking career, and I need him to come back. Like, and again, I know like Rock and Cody is like what they talked about. I really hope that's not what it is. I really hope they don't complicate it and they just go with Rock and Roman. I feel like you got to do it. I feel like it's the biggest fucking thing.
Man.
It's crazy how we went from, oh God, no, they're doing it, to please God, please do it this year. You know
exactly,
what I mean?
right?
Like next year is the perfect time to do that.
I wondered too, like, we got to find out, man, what the fuck did he put in Cody's hand? What did he do?
Yeah, what was that shit? Like,
it was still don't know. Did you not? Were none of you told about this?
That's a little further
from
me, Alan.
The Rock gifted people. I think Cody gifted people Rolexes when he won the title. And
was that confirmed? I think I remember something
in Shoot
like that,
gave one to The Rock, and then The Rock put that in the storyline. Like, it doesn't matter if it's gimmick or not. I don't want your fucking handouts. So you take this title and you fucking go be a good champion.
That is fucking awesome, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, you're giving the most famous person in the world a fucking watch. He doesn't need a watch, dude. It's Dwayne Johnson, dude. He doesn't need a watch.
This right here is my blood in a vial, and I want you to take that.
I want you to take this. You're brave.
Why does he sound like this now? Is this the Rock?
My favorite.
Get your monkey ass out of the ring.
Oh my God. My favorite theory about what Rock put in Cody's hand is that he put like a pack of matches and that he was the one who lit Cody's fucking production truck on fire over Mania weekend. I hope that that's true.
That segment that led up to that, like, because that was the last time we saw Rock, right? It was after Mania.
Yeah, the like 40-minute promo that they did.
He honestly came across as like the most insane dude in wrestling history, and I mean as a compliment. Like, everything he said, it sounded like he was full of it, and he was like threatening in a completely non-threatening way. I don't know where the reality and fiction, like where they blur at this point with Rock. That was money though. The way he was carrying himself as final boss, it was great, great TV,
great stuff.
So awesome, like
amazing.
But
I can't wait.
That I'm fucking hype as fuck for.
There
were people on Twitter were saying it perfectly. SummerSlam was not an event for like the physical in-ring stuff. Like the matches were good, but like every single match had a good story angle beat about it.
Yep.
So like, I mean, I'm just excited to see where these feuds are going because none of them are finished. Like they're all leading to something.
The board's been totally reset again, which is like, again, that people complain about how that's what Triple H does after Big Fours.
Four titles changed.
Four fucking title changes. Like, I don't know how. I mean, I'm happy he did it because when Braun, Knight, and Nia all won back to back, I was sweating for Gunther. I was like, "Don't you?"
Yeah, that was scary shit, dude.
Better not be the one that you picked to lose, or I'll be really pissed off. But you know, it was a cool. I mean, I just hope it's not like. I don't want it to fall into a rhythm where it's like no title changes and then we do 50 at every Big Four. It's like ridiculous.
His biggest strength as a booker is he looks ahead and he has a vision that can equally sometimes be a flaw. And sometimes you can just pull the Band-Aid off and do that thing. You know, like it's a balance. I will say, I think we're all still more happy with it because of what he's following. Right, in the sense with Vince, you got the sense he didn't know what was happening next week because he didn't.
He knows happening next hour.
Right, exactly. So I think and I actually think the fan base kind of, you can see this almost. We're just getting to a point after 2 years where people are now like, okay, we appreciate the way you do things. Maybe mix it up sometimes, right? But for now, I think he's doing a strong job. And I think this, the end of this year is huge in terms of how does the Finn business get followed up on? What's Roman's return like? The Rock, as we were discussing, that will be huge in shaping the hype for Mania season next year for sure.
Yeah. Just while we're already like going into the fall, like we're about to walk right into Survivor Series discussion and then Royal Rumble discussion again immediately. It feels like it went by way faster this year than it did last year for me. I think maybe that's because I was crawling through the mud, waiting for Cody to get back into the title picture. So I was just trudging through bullshit and so much shit in such a long time. But having Cody and dude, last thing I'll say, this is partially a bit. They need to bring back Brand versus Brand Survivor Series just so I can get Cody and Gunther one-on-one at Survivor Series. We didn't do that shit. Oh my God. Just for that alone. But yeah, I'm glad we were all. I'm looking forward to what's coming up next, and SummerSlam was solid shows. But again, it's always the mid-looking Triple H shows that turn out to be awesome, and then the ones that look really great on paper end up being whatever. Fine.
Well, I'm gonna start wrapping this up. Wyatt,
Hey, man.
I've got a thing here because you know how we put a poll at the end of every Spotify episode. We should mention that, by the way. We're on YouTube and we're also on Spotify if you want to listen there. I mean, you can listen however you want.
You know.
At the end of every episode, we have Wyatt put a funny, stupid little poll. Wyatt, guess what?
We have a tie?
We have a winner.
Oh, boy.
An official winner this time.
We have an official winner. So what was the question?
So the question was, which film series should get the Logan treatment? So like a darker, more R-rated version of the film.
Yeah.
So we have 3 movies in third place with 0 votes. We had...
Okay. Yeah.
We had Wolverine.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. Imagine that.
Imagine. We had George of the Jungle.
No one wants that. God damn.
And the legs guy from Piranha 3DD.
I wouldn't want to see that.
Second place. Go Diego Go.
They're pretty cool.
Like Dora the Explorer's cousin.
Yeah, it'd be like basically like, you know, like he'd have to like
don't have to explain it. It's okay, Wyatt. It's okay. First place, getting the Logan treatment. Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
That's it, cool, baby.
They're in jail.
They're in jail.
It's Brawl in Cell Block 99. Fucking.
No!
My God.
There will be a new poll underneath this one. Wyatt, don't tell us what it is. Just
I won't tell you what it is.
We have one more thing, though, that Wyatt wants to do before
Wyatt,
we go.
You know what that means.
So, I've deliberately not told Joe about this for the element of surprise, so I'm going to explain. Generally, Joe, we have a tradition here at the end of every episode where Cass has a wheel of movies. He spins it, and Wyatt, whatever movie lands on, Wyatt is going to pitch his remake of that movie in 51 seconds. So enjoy. It's peak comedy. Get ready.
I know why you think it's funny. It's serious.
Well, it depends on the film, right? It depends on the film, I guess, right?
It's completely random. We have no say in what movie comes up.
All right, spin that.
So, here it comes.
All right.
Oh my God. Last time the section was crazy. There was like 5 DreamWorks movies it was going through. Ooh.
It's very intense.
Ooh. Ooh, Wyatt, the Lego movie.
Oh, hell yeah.
The third one. You gotta make a third one.
You gotta make a third one? Okay.
Lego movie.
Lego movie 3.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
He's not ready. We're gonna do the timer.
Okay.
Would you like me to spin again?
No, we got this. It's fine.
Yeah? Okay, alright.
Yeah, we got this.
Here we go.
Are you ready?
A lot here.
Yep, I'm ready.
Oh my God. Before we start, Joe, one of my favorite highlights of this, do you remember Speed?
Mm-hmm.
So he did Speed 3, where Sandra Bullock is on a plane and there's a giant talking moose that she's fighting off. It's like a horror thriller movie. I was like, this sounds ridiculous. Speed: The Moose is Loose, I think it was called.
Gives me an idea of what to expect here, really, doesn't it? That's a good call.
Moose control.
Wyatt, 51 seconds, buddy. 3, 2, 1, hit me.
Okay, so basically this movie's entirely from like the real life family's perspective. There's like no Legos involved. It's just what they perceive as them playing Legos. And
Right.
it's like the kid in the movie, he's like all grown up now. Will Ferrell's still his dad, but he's not in the movie. So basically, so basically, yeah, this kid has now kids of his own now. He has kids of his own, and they walk up to him and say, "Hey, Daddy, what's this?" And it's like, it's like the Legos, like it's Emmett and Wildstyle and everything. And he goes,
"Yeah,
I remember this. Reminds me of my dad. I really miss him around the holidays." And then Will Ferrell, like Mr. Boss, whatever his name is, President Business.
Yeah.
The Lego himself walks in, and he goes, "Son, it's me. I'm right here." And the kid goes, "What the fuck?" And then boom, credits. It's like, okay, whoa, what are we gonna say?
Boom, credits.
No, title. I should say title. That's not gonna be credits, but title.
It's like a short film.
What's the Lego
so
Movie
basically,
3?
the film is called Lego Movie 3. The Lego Movie 3 : This time it's Legoed. I don't know. Actually, no.
New kid on the block.
That's great, actually.
That's excellent.
On
That's
board.
excellent.
Yeah,
The idea of President Business life-size Lego figure walks into
Oh no,
the
he's
room.
still short.
Son,
Yeah, he's life-size. Yeah.
son, it's me.
Went wrong. Something horrible went wrong. He's just normal size, but he's a Lego.
Son, I don't know what's happening.
Dude, it's like Tusk.
It's
like Tusk where he gets turned into the Lego feast instead of the walrus. Like,
Oh, and the kid.
Oh.
The adult version of the kid is played by Zachary Levi. So there you go. It's gonna be.
Oh.
funny, honestly. We looped it all the way around. We looped around back to Harold and the Purple Crayon right at the end.
Yeah, so this is the point where the podcast actually loops and you're forever listening to it. Yeah.
So guys, Harold and the Purple Crayon. Right there.
Oh man, go support Good Bad Bruv on Patreon. We also have a merch site, goonscorpw.com. You get stuff like this and this if you want to. I want to say huge thanks to our buddy Joe Hulbert. This has been an amazing episode.
Thank you very much, Joe. Once again,
good, man.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it, honestly.
Really fun. I'm happy to be here. It's been a hell of a time, and thanks for having me, fellas. Blast.
Of course, man.
Yeah.
It's been fun to have a wrestling eccentric episode actually, because we do talk about movies a lot, but it's cool to like dive down and proper talk about it.
Honestly, yeah. And obviously, support Joe on the Late Night Grin. Support him in all of his free agent endeavors. He's gonna be roaming around. He's gonna be touring the cities, touring the continents. You know, running Broadways on the indie circuit. You know, he's gonna be hitting.
Most importantly, Joe, what is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie, I'll go One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh,
excellent choice.
Oh, God.
That and Rear Window, I always get torn.
Oh, Rear Window. Oh, that's a shout. That's a shout. Rear Window.
Now that I'm confident I won't ruin your guys' show, I'll come back sometime. We'll do a more movie-centric situation.
You're not gonna ruin the show, buddy. It was
I
lovely.
didn't want to hijack the format, you know.
I think we'll put a disclaimer at the beginning just to say like, hey,
This is a Joe
this is the
Hulbert
wrestling
episode.
pod. Like, this is the wrestling one.
Put a disclaimer. Watch only for wrestling unless you're a Sideways fan, in which case skip 2 and they'll be like
To the sideways portion.
yeah.
Oh my God.
And we
That's
talk about
YouTube
Trap
short.
for like a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, thanks for listening. Tune in next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.